Yo, what is up, everybody?
Everybody.
How's it going? This is Jason.
And Bill.
And we have one of our favorite returning guests, Mr. Edward G. Gobbo.
Hey!
Welcome, dude.
What's up?
So
Dude.
we are at New Metal 2.
Yeah, here we are.
This is
number
New Metal
42.
2. I still hate coming to Westchester.
That's
In
fine.
an undisclosed location. But the main thing is this has happened to me twice. Like, and I've been to the hoods of the United States, but right up when I get off that, first it takes me an hour and 10 minutes to get here from Evanston.
Yeah.
There's no easy route.
Takes me about 45
There's
minutes.
a lovely gas station that's a BP right off the highway when I get off.
Right over here, right?
It's near here.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
That's
right
a
where
Circle K that I always stop at.
I get a coffee there. I love gas station coffee.
Yeah, I see you doing it up.
This dude, man, and this happened to me twice. He keeps the owner of this gas station exists behind a bulletproof glass
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to get held up and shit. He keeps the coffee cups behind the glass.
Really?
And you have to pay for the coffee cup.
Oh.
He unlocks the glass, comes around, unlocks the glass door, and hands it to you.
Fuck
and
yeah.
then you can fill up your coffee. And I'm just
He
like,
doesn't want you stealing
dude,
it.
I've been to, which is crazy because I've been to.
Is it that cup?
It's that cup. I paid for it before I filled up the coffee. And I've been to the worst
Dude, go to
areas of
Sam's
the
Club,
United
they
States
have
to
those.
buy coffee
They
in
never
gas
do that.
stations. They've never done that. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I've
what
never
type
heard
of
of that.
fucking hillbilly shit is that? I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've never seen that
Those
either.
cups are so cheap. Like,
Yeah,
why
I've definitely
Yeah,
stolen
make that
plenty
effort?
of coffee from gas stations.
You can get those
So-
cups from Sam's Club for like
Yeah,
$2
isn't that the
for like a
cups
pack
you
of like
have at the
300.
shop?
Yeah.
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 Well, we could just go in there and be like, "Oh, we already bought them, dude."
We got them.
You ever buy coffee in Canada at a gas station? It's like rationed out. They give you the individual cups. They don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
wasting anything. And they say, like, do you want cream? And it's like, yes. And they hand you like a creamer.
Yep.
And
You have to keep asking every time you want a creamer.
they take that they don't like wasting anything.
I know,
If you go to
yeah.
a gas station in the United States, it's like, oh, we're going to put 6 pots on and pour out 3.5 at the end of the
Exactly,
shift
dude.
or whatever
Go
and
to,
not
like,
give
a
a fuck.
fucking
Because we have so
pilot.
much coffee. I mean, it is what it
We're
is.
swimming in
Dude,
coffee.
like
here.
some coffee at like the truck stop gas stations, like a Pilot or like a Flying J, they have machines with beans and they crush the beans
Yeah,
and
that's the
make it
shit.
like right on the spot. And I'm
Super
like, oh,
fresh.
okay.
Interesting comment about that. If you go to a Pilot, I know what you're talking about. Those
Yeah.
machines will say black coffee, 0 calories for a 12 ounce.
Yeah.
And then it goes up to a 24 ounce and it says black coffee, 5 calories
Yeah.
for a 24 ounce. And I'm just like, where are the calories coming from? The
Yeah.
cup, the bigger cup? Because if you take it
Type of
defies
fucking
math.
Coffee. Yeah.
Because it's like 0 times 0 is 0, or 0 times 1 is 0,
Yeah.
or 2 is 0. So it's just like, where are these 5?
Yeah. Where are you getting the 5 from? If the
Yeah, it's fucking
be,
crazy.
It could be a thing of that if it's below a certain amount that it just falls under so low that
That's
they can
it.
say
like the
that it
measuring
doesn't.
scale, like
Oh my
FD
God.
That's
shit.
like Tic Tacs. They say
Yeah.
0 sugar because it's all sugar, but it's so small that it doesn't even qualify as having sugar.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Dude,
Fun facts. Yeah.
I've been thinking about that for years now at this point. And
Tic
you
Tacs?
just, no, the coffee. And you just fucking solved it
It's
for
like
me.
an FDA thing or
Yeah,
whatever.
Yes, dude, that's it. That's
Yeah.
the
And they
mystery.
can get away with that. Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we get into this shit?
Weren't we just talking about how we weren't going to get derailed on this show? And
Immediately.
here we are. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So
Who we start with?
we're starting with Gobbo's
Okay.
record. Would you like to introduce
Great
it?
record, too.
Okay, well, this is a new metal week.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep.
New Metal
02.
I had a lot of good times listening to the record. Did you guys, you announced them last week what we're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had heard all those records before, and it was good to revisit them.
I'm surprised that you listened to King A10.
Oh yeah, we'll get into it. And it's always good to revisit like something from the golden era, like the 40 Blow record. My record's the Fear Factory
See,
record where
the
it's
40
released.
Below one I still do listen to every once in a
Really?
while.
Yeah, just like I listen to the Fear Factory.
The Fear
one.
Factory one, not as much anymore, and that was a
Oh, man,
big
I'm
album
going
for
to
me.
be listening to
yeah,
it all
it's
the
going to be
time.
in rotation
Hell
now.
yeah.
It's funny. I've been seeing more about Dino at least lately. Like more people have been coming out talking about him, saying like big influence on my rhythm playing, and it's like, oh, okay. Like where were you guys at before? Like we should have like kept that going because it's true. It was for me for sure. Learning to play that stuff like that.
Sure.
It's not easy, you know, and. But it's cool to see that people are kind of coming around being like, yeah, Dino is a huge influence on what I do.
Dude,
And I'm like, oh, awesome.
After
good.
the Burial guys used to always talk about Fear Factory and
Really?
how much, like, yeah,
That's
definitely.
awesome. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I was always like lame, but
I was like the
I get
biggest
that for sure. Yeah.
and I was the biggest Fear Factory fan growing up, and I got
Yeah.
to like live through it. because I saw them on the Obsolete tour.
Oh,
man,
okay.
it's
I wish
funny.
I could have like seen that.
Ooh, who else did
I've
they
only
tour
seen
with?
live once.
That tour, I want to say it was it was either like Head PE
Fuck
for
yeah.
sure.
We missed that Head PE show.
We did, yeah.
Adam, shout out to Adam, texted me and goes, dude, that show's tonight. I was like, fuck. I was like, I totally forgot about it. I thought it was later in February. He's like, we fucked up. We did.
Yeah. And it was on that record. That's what
really?
where the
Bro,
Fear Factory tour.
that's awesome.
And I've seen them. I saw them so many times when I was like 16 on, and I saw them with like anyone from like Kitty opening up or fucking
Hell yeah.
them playing with. I think they opened up for Monster Magnet.
Okay.
And they also, I saw them with like fucking Chimera and Il Nino on that when that wave was like starting with like the second-ish wave of new metal. But I thought about them recently because I was like, I was thinking about the last time me and my mother had a fight was actually over Fear Factory. You're already gonna know the punchline of the story, but it was
Sounds like every new metal kid ever.
about a year ago. My parents had a barbecue, and I go to the barbecue, and my mother was talking about this. Might have been over a year ago, whatever. She was talking about how she got trapped in Wrigleyville and was in traffic because a Foo Fighters concert had just let out at Wrigley. And then she's like, I'm pretty sure my son's here, blah, blah, blah. I go, why would I be there? And she's like, because you love Foo Fighters? And I'm like, I don't like that band at all.
You like Fear Factory.
That's the punchline of the joke. So we keep
You don't
going.
like Foo Fighters? I
mean, like the first record, maybe.
Well, I like this. Was it Color and the Shape is like one of my favorite albums.
Oh, okay. That's a cool one as well. And
Phenomenal
there's some
front to back. I love that
tracks off that are jams. But
that's so funny.
the bottom line is we go back through the course of this whole barbecue. You like Foo Fighters? No, I don't. And it just keeps escalating and escalating.
So she was like adamant that you love Foo Fighters.
The indicator was this, which was she says, I had a Fear Factory windbreaker when I was like 16.
That's sick.
And she's
Do you
like,
still
you
have
had that?
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
still have it, of course.
yeah.
She's like, hey
windbreaker's
man,
awesome.
you had that Foo Fighters jacket. Because she used to like throw it on to go like run and get a pack of cigarettes and stuff. And I'm like, that was Fear Factory.
Yeah.
And then she goes like, oh, it's the same thing. I go, no,
it's not the same
very not the same thing. And that was our last
flip
fight.
the grill and then
Dude, how
slammed
can
the
you
door
confuse
13
Dave Grohl
times.
with Burton C. Bell?
they have like, don't they have like almost identical logos too in a way?
Yes, they do.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I want to give a quick shout out to my family too, because I had a rough Friday, which is we had our family dog passed away.
Oh, shit.
So I want to give a shout out to our dog, Tess.
Hell yeah.
She did it, and it was did she pass away? The answer is yes, but she had to be euthanized. It was a case where, and Bill will contest this. We actually played a show on New Year's Eve, and I had to fucking leave to administer. She had been battling diabetes for a while, and I had to leave our show to administer a shot to her.
Okay.
And it just got to the point where it was out of control, and she just had all these complications with it.
Yeah.
And she was awesome. She did a thing where, it's funny because, not to get off a tangent on pets, but the poeticness of them is this, which is you get a pet and like 95% chance going into it that they're going to pass away before you do.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to like live with that fact.
Yeah.
But the trade-off is obviously that they're going to be like 100% loyal to you throughout their lives.
Yeah.
You could be the biggest piece of shit and come home to a pet that loves you. It's kind of like, that's actually the subplot in Silence of the Lambs, where Buffalo Bill is the worst dude ever, but he has a dog that loves him.
Yeah, I remember.
The
Yeah,
princess.
hell yeah.
It's crazy. And when it comes down to it, they're loyal to you, and they're the worst they could be is like insubordinate, like pooping in a house or something. But when it comes down to it, all that grief that humans give to you, you're going to get from a pet when you are at that crossroads with them.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we need to kind of put them down. And then the thing with this is, I'm saying this because I'm giving a shout out to a bunch of my friends who've had to put down animals recently, because it's the hardest fucking thing. And I was doing the math in my head. I've had to do it about 6 times. Ugh. And it's like it was like I had to do it with like an ex-girlfriend I had once, and it was just, and my dogs and all this shit, and it's just so fucking bad. And the thing is this, which is they know going into it, where it's like, where you're going to be at, which is like the vet coming to you and saying, this is where we're at. Yeah. But ultimately, you have to make the call.
Of course.
It's not like I want them to come out and say, this is like, this is a horrible situation she's in, and we're making essentially the call for you.
Yeah, it would be
But
nice.
they would never do
they
that.
can't. Yeah, like legally, I don't think they can.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then and it's like, what's the quality of life? And it's like her going into surgeries, maybe not surviving surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God. And I watched, and this is one of the hardest things ever, man. Like when I was growing up, my cousin, this was the 80s and 90s for you, man.
Sure.
She had a dog that literally I watched that was like sick for like 6 months. I watched the dog die in her arms.
Ooh.
And it's just like, but that dog should have been dead 6 months ago if they would have
Right.
taken him to a vet and euthanized it in a humane fashion like they should have.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like that dog was in a torturesome existence for that 6 month span. So you never forget that stuff. But yeah, this is just a shout out to her, and she loved heavy metal and she loved Fear Factory. So it's
Hell
like
yeah. Shout out Tess, dude.
yeah. So that was a rough week, but I was looking forward to this whole thing. Let's talk about some Fear Factory. And
Oh
shout
my
out to my
God,
mom
dude.
wearing that Fear Factory coat, man.
Hell yeah. Dude, Obsolete, out of all 3 records, this is my favorite, easily.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I was
awesome. I'm glad you liked it so
dude,
much.
I was
That's so
blown
cool.
away at how much, like, either parts where I was, like, laughing because I'm like, I don't know if I like this because this is kind of goofy.
There's definitely that corny aspect to it that is that new metal era, for
yeah,
sure.
but it's still, like...
But there's some, like,
So-
great, heavy, like, just good, catchy
Yeah,
stuff
and
to it.
Fear Factory is a band, in my opinion. Like I'm like when I was in high school and shit, I was the metal dude.
Right,
New
right.
metal never got a pass. Like a lot of bands didn't get a pass, but
Oh,
I always
for sure.
felt like Fear Factory had an element to them where like the true metal guys always enjoyed them.
I'm so glad you're saying that because we are from different
Eras.
yes, we
Yeah.
are. Like I'm 8 years older than you or whatever it is. Maybe even 10. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm 35. But when it comes down to it, this is what it was like in the late 90s when Fear Factory really took the throne. It was like
Because Obsolete's their 3rd record.
it's their 3rd record. The first Fear Factory record is a record called
Soul of a New
Soul of a New
Machine.
Machine,
Yep.
which was basically like
It sounds like a death metal record.
it is. It's
Yeah.
basically
Very
a-
low produced, too.
low
Like, it's,
produced.
Like,
I like it.
I never really
listened
liked
to
it.
after
Yeah.
I listened to Obsolete.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
remember, like, because I got into Fear Factory after the first album, never heard of it.
Demanufacture's the second one, right?
Yeah, I got into them then, and I was like, oh, let's go back and see what this previous album was. And I remember not liking it. I haven't listened to it since. It's been years since then.
Soul of a New Machine has some jams on it, but
Yeah.
it's how I could pinpoint it is it's a band, and this often happens with bands starting out, which is they're basically emulating 3 maybe bands that they're into.
Yeah.
And then eventually they find their own sound and they just run with it. The good ones do. That was kind of an early, more grooved Napalm Death record mixed with Godflesh.
Yeah,
And that's what Soul of a New Machine is. And what happened was they signed a Roadrunner, and Roadrunner was like touting all these real metal bands back then.
Oh, yeah, like Suffocation and Deicide and shit. I
And
remember they were on there.
Obituary,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's like, that's the bands that Fear Factory was fed to go on tour with. And they would be
Yeah.
like the opener of these tours or whatnot. But that scene, I wasn't even around to like experience it, but I know firsthand from a lot of people that like that scene was so like, if you didn't sound a certain way, fuck you type deal.
Yeah.
And Fear Factory on those records, though were had a rad sound that was very rooted in death metal, you could tell that they were looking to get something more out of it with Burton C. Bell doing the melodic style vocals, which would come
Yeah.
out every now and again on that record.
Right.
Yeah.
And from reading interviews and stuff, like that would always turn off those fans. Like they'd be
Yeah,
like,
sure.
no,
That
man.
makes sense.
Yeah, Suffocation never had any singing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like that's the clear sign for people to be like, I'm off. You know?
His clean vocals crack me up too because there is like zero vibrato.
Yeah, it's so
It's
weird.
just so boom, like I'm sure if you saw a waveform of it, it's just a straight line, and it's interesting because like that is like a pre like auto tune era as
yeah.
well. So like it's I remember a lot of dudes doing that method of like essentially just holding that one note, and it's easy enough to do for some people, but for Burton he could do it really well. And but it works for the band because it gives it this mechanical, almost type of synth sound to it because his vocals almost don't sound real when he does the singing, and it works in the motif of like that band. I think
Without
if they
question.
didn't, if they didn't have like that kind of like, I don't know, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but like that particular vibe to them, I don't think it would have been the same.
Well, it's funny because an ex-girlfriend of mine from high school, she literally got to the point where she couldn't listen to Fear Factory because it made her cry every time she heard Burton do the singing vocals.
Why? Because she was laughing, crying?
No, like just so intense for her.
Those that, with Burton C. Bell, he's one of my favorite vocalists of all time. Those that know. Like, it's just like, he reaches certain people a certain way. He's like a cult followed great vocalist. And if you're a fan of him,
he really is, man. Like, I've talked to a lot of dudes on the road that like bring him up, and they're just like, "Yeah, man, fucking love Burton. Like,
he's
love
great,
that dude.
yeah.
Amazing."
This was the best example, and I think maybe you chimed in. About a year ago, I was thinking about something because I read an article where it might have been with Burton C. Bell, where he goes, "We did like a short tour with Deftones once, and like Chino was the biggest asshole to me."
Burton said that to him?
Yes, Burton said that in an interview.
Okay.
And Stephen Carpenter from Deftones apparently like was a big Fear Factory dude.
Which makes sense.
I believe that. Yeah.
And what happened was I posted on my Facebook like better vocalist Chino or Burton. And I'm just like, Chino's gonna win this by because everyone worships
that's what I would
Deftones.
assume.
And fucking all the Burton fans
Or came out
just
like
the
weighing in.
woodwork. About 100 people posted seriously, and it was like 50-50. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
That's crazy, man.
And I loved it.
They're very different vocalists, I feel like.
They are.
Absolutely.
And then some people chimed in and they're like, why are we even comparing these two? They're nothing alike. I'm just like, it doesn't matter. We're comparing them.
Yeah. I mean, I will
who gives a
preface,
shit? Yeah.
I will say that there's definitely, like, Burton has that voice. When I hear it, I'm like, oh, that's him.
You know it.
You know what I mean?
You
And
know
that's
it
I love that and I
immediately.
respect it.
Yeah.
Were there parts on Obsolete where he's singing and I was kind of like, what is going on? And like kind of laughing. Yeah, a little bit.
for sure.
But like
Yeah.
then there were some songs where I was just like, whoa, this is like the shit.
It
And
works really
it just
well.
clicks in.
Yeah.
Like that song, Descent.
That's
That
my
song
favorite
is-
song.
Dude, it's my favorite
Yeah.
song too.
Love that song.
It's
He's
good.
great on that.
It
It's
kind of
so
sounds,
good.
and that main riff kind of sounds like a little Deftonesy, a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's the one. Yeah, that is very, very Deftonesy. But basically, when it comes down to it, or as far as this record, Obsolete, we were talking about Soul of a New Machine for a second.
I need to listen to that again just for the sake of
They were
this.
doing a thing where they were trying to find their sound. They found it, and then it kind of had a lot of balls, man, with the whole demanufacture record to be like, we're going to go full tilt with it.
Yeah.
And the folklore behind Burton and Dino's relationship was, I think he was at someone's house, Dino, and he heard Burton singing in the shower like he was a roommate or something.
Yeah.
And he was singing a U2 song. And this is funny because a lot of people will say shit like this, which is like, fuck that band, I hate them.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that band. It's like, well, my rebuttal is like, I had a lot of people growing up saying like, U2 sucks. They're the worst band. And I'm just like, well, you like Fear Factory, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm just like, dude, they're heavy rooted in fucking U2.
You could hear it totally.
Burton C. Bell's vocals and also Dino's guitar playing, even though he's doing that, we'll get into
Chugmaster.
the Chugmaster.
Yeah, the stuff outside of that.
He is like the edge. He's heavily, and they will say in interviews how influenced they were by U2.
Yeah.
And it's like, you are now a U2 fan. and you don't even fucking know it.
I like U2. As
Their early shit is fucking amazing, yeah.
Jamie Josta has coined Dino as a riff beast.
A riff beast.
Yeah, I believe he
he
made
is-
shirts of like that said riff beast with Dino's picture on them.
Dude, they did a thing where Dino is the first dude that was in like the Guitar World magazines that heavy metal or even just regular guitar players that are the powers that be were able to push a dude who was like a lot of dudes in metal bands that time now whatever they have like baby fat on them.
Yeah.
This dude was like a fat dude.
Yeah,
and it was
he
like
was a
big
fat
boy.
guy, dude. He was a
Still is.
pioneer, man.
and he
always been a
came
big
out
boy.
and they're like, we're gonna like push this guy like he's the raddest dude in the fucking world because he had a look to him.
And yeah.
And it was just like, dude, when it came down to it, and when I had like, I had a friend that was Dino for Halloween, in high school,
That's sick.
and
Cargo shorts, black shirt.
and he had a black wig, and he was a big dude.
Dude, that's awesome.
So when you were like a big dude growing up, that was your guy. And then if you were a Latino dude, he was your guy. And it's just like that encompasses a lot of the heavy metal scene, dude.
I want him to be
It's
my
fucking-
guy.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And like he was a riff master, and then he was the first guy to, I think, use the 7-string. Besides like the Steve Vai thing when just fucking shred. That was like really taken seriously about it.
Yeah.
Like Korn was always like, they're just fucking wanking.
Yeah.
But it's just like, no, like Dino was chugging and fucking
Yeah,
playing
he was ripping,
super
dude.
fucking fast.
You could tell he liked death metal. You could tell that dude liked
absolutely.
Suffocation Records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you hear his right hand, and it's so distinct. I mean, so I will... when I first heard... So, Fear Factory, when I was getting into them, were like not really in the picture anymore as much. Like the first record I had heard from Fear Factory was Transgression, which is the record without Dino on it.
Christian Wolvers,
my buddy
from basic guitar.
My buddy Eric, his mom used to work at the Borders that was on Lake Street and Harlem, and he would always buy CDs like every weekend. And he didn't have a computer; I had a computer.
Oh,
so
that's right.
he would come over. We both had iPods, and he would bring all these CDs. We'd burn them to my computer, and we would just like play video games while they were ripping, and then we would put them on our iPods. So like I discovered a lot of music that way just based on the stuff he was getting and shit.
Grabbing whatever.
But I remember we were listening, he brought home Transgression, and like the first song is like 10,000 or 15,000 degrees Fahrenheit or
which
something.
Which is the degrees that the sun burns at.
Yeah, and it's just like this super fast I'm like, whoa, what is this shit? You know, it sounded like insane, but it wasn't Dino. And like
it was interesting seeing Christian like be like, I gotta keep that Fear Factory sound.
Because he played bass, correct?
Yeah. He also, it's funny, like it's kind of like Franco. He's like classically trained and upright too.
Yeah.
Which is why on that song, Edge Crusher.
Yeah, there's upright bass.
Yeah. Which is why it sounds so funky.
Man, Obsolete though.
So, I don't like. You know, I think Fear Factory is a band that, all right, so Demanufacture was, from everything I've read about it and the interviews and all that shit that I've heard, it was a clusterfuck for them to record because they had this vision that they were put with this great engineer. His name's Colin Richardson. He did a bunch of like metal bands in the 90s. He owned a lot like the metal community
I've heard
engineering
his name
and
many
shit.
times. Yeah.
So like, let's put you with Colin Richardson, and they recorded and apparently like the
for
band
Obsolete or for Demanufacture.
This is for Demanufacture, but it's important to when talking about Obsolete. They started recording that record and apparently it took them a couple years to record. It may be hyperbole, I don't fucking know. But when it comes down to it, it took them a long time. And they had a vision for this record that Colin Richardson essentially, it was over his head.
Sure.
He just looked at him as like, you're a metal band, right? You want to sound like Metallic. And they're like, no, we want to do a few things. And Dino was the kind of the mouthpiece for this, like from taking what the band was saying and what his vision was to Colin. And apparently Colin Richardson and him haven't spoke since the record was finished.
Really?
And that record sold millions of copies and is groundbreaking. They should be sucking each other's dicks.
Yeah.
But that relationship is destroyed because of it.
Really?
But what happened was during that record, there was this dude named who's very important in the Fear Factory universe named Reese Fulber. He was the guy that, first of all, he was in a band that was an industrial kind of underground band that's pretty popular still, and they'll do like reunion tours and shit called Frontline Assembly. Mm-hmm. Popular as in when they come through Chicago, they'll play like Beat Kitchen and pretty much sell it out or something along those lines. Or they'll play like a fest at Metro or something for the industrial crowd. It's total industrial. And they, during the Soul of a New Machine era, they contracted him to do some remixes for Soul of a New Machine on this record they did called Fear is a Mind Killer, which was extremely important because that was the first record where they took like songs, where a metal band took songs and remixed them. Mm-hmm. And then bands like White Zombie started doing them and shit like that. There was a few bands that did that shit. Or like they did remixes for soundtracks, some bands.
That was a thing that never gelled with me. And Fear Factory is one of the biggest bands to do that. Like every album has
a remix.
Yes, like the special editions will
always
have,
it's like a remix of a song. Yeah.
Like all the songs almost. Like it's crazy how much they did it.
Well, they were the big like quote unquote industrial.
For sure. There's that industrial element to the band, and but for whatever reason, I never got into.
Here's the thing,
that portion, and I was curious as to why.
No, the reason they did it is there was still, especially in certain places in Europe, what was called like a club scene.
Yeah, where like,
and it was like it was basically like, imagine the bar The Exit if anyone's ever been there. Imagine if like, which I've seen a couple times, actually more than a couple. The upstairs at The Exit has like a DJ that's like doing like harder, darker, metal industrial type deal, and imagine it being packed and like there being a vibe created by that. Yeah, that's what that record was for, and that was a flourishing scene, especially in like the UK. So like it was a good record to make, and they did that. They remixed. I think they did remixes for like all their records.
I think all of them.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool of them because those were kids that really like respected that like first wave of techno, industrial, obviously. And when the metal community is like on your nuts, your first instinct should be, we're going metal as fuck. But at the same time, they're like, no, we're into this shit too.
Into that crowd too, yeah.
But so they started working with this dude Reese Fulber to add keys to demanufacture.
Okay.
He's also a dude that was an engineer, and he got the vision more than Colin Richardson did. And then before you know it, that's who they have lined up to be the sole producer on what would be Obsolete.
Okay.
They formed a connection with Reese through this. You get the vision. We're probably going to get big off this record, but we're thinking of the next one.
Yeah.
Like, you should be there and be the guy.
Okay. So he produced Obsolete then?
Yes. And he had, I think, what would be like a minor production credit on Demanufacture, but he wasn't the lead.
No.
There was like a certain type of synthesizer that was getting reissued during the Obsolete time in the late 90s that Reese was like all about. The vision for it was like, we're going to bring up the keys. We're going to have the vocals be like super up in the mix. And then just fucking the riffs are going to just be like that, like blast where it's going to be like tight as shit.
Yeah.
And that's the sound we're going for.
Yeah, which is pretty much the sound of that record, honestly.
Yeah. And then you add in the fact that that record's actually a concept record.
It's a huge I read about the whole fucking thing, dude.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, I read it. It's super fucking metal nerd concept shit. And what I want to say about that is it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a little bit on the first new metal episode we did when you were bringing up Spawn and shit about how, like, you know, it's essentially almost like a superhero-esque story, the concept of Obsolete. I mean, I'm not going to say the entire thing, but it reminded me very much of, like, you know, I was reading, like, with the Wikipedia page on that record is a shitload of information about it. Like,
well, because
it breaks down the entire concept.
That came with the album has like awesome.
Yeah, it's got like a script in it.
Whole story and a script. Yeah, for sure. I wish I had a copy of. I do have a copy of it. I just don't have it on me.
I want to buy that record so I could just have that. But like, it's insane how much they put into it. And they hired like the artist was a dude who had already been doing comic books and whatnot. It said, and like they you know, they had all these characters and shit. It was very just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, I never knew Fear Factory was that type of band because like I was all about the metal concept nerd bullshit for a long time.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it from a band like that for sure.
But I mean, hearing that record and like, you know, I listened to it once and then I read about the entire concept and then I listened to it again to try and like get a better understanding of the whole thing. But like, man, it goes so many weird ass places, that album, and it's just so good, dude. It's so sick. It's such a sick record.
You know, it's funny because it's like I did a thing where when you talk to like metal dudes across the board, if you ask them like, do you like Fear Factory, the answer is usually gonna be like, yeah, I used to be into them.
Yeah,
cool.
A lot of I used to
tos. And then we talk to them like, what's your favorite Fear Factory record? 9 times out of 10 they're gonna say Demanufacture.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know that's like the general, like that's what I like to call the Metal Archives album of choice, because when you look at all the reviews based on Metal Archives, they give you the little percentages of like how much people like them or what their scores are. Demanufacture as the biggest one. Yeah,
it was a
like
game changer. And I respect it for that.
And they did like a 10-year anniversary tour for it.
Yeah, and I was there.
Yeah, it was like, Soilwork, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
cool. But Obsolete is like, it's funny because when I talk about favorite Fear Factory records with random dudes, it seems like the guys I'm like organically closest with, especially from a musical standpoint, will always be like Obsolete's the shit.
Yeah.
Pete Grossman's an example of that. Like he was
Obsolete.
Yeah, like
we listened to it on the way to a show.
We
like,
did.
Fuck
sick.
yes.
Yeah, and like it's just like the most focused record they had done up to that point. And actually, I will say this, which is a lot of people then like rip on Digimortal a little bit, the follow-up record to that.
Really? People rip on it?
I think it's because it lacks that really aggressive Fear Factory style that Demanufacture had.
Okay.
And it's too far removed from that.
I've never heard Digimortal, but I do know that their top song, at least on Spotify, is Linchpin.
Yeah, which is
the
a
first
jam.
song. Yeah,
but that song's a shit.
I've heard that song, yeah.
And I love that record.
There's also a really good Descent-esque song on that album.
Really?
Dark Bodies?
Dark Bodies.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. Invisible Wounds, Dark Bodies is the name of the song.
Great song. Great fucking song. Yeah.
That is really badass. So it's a great record. It's just that it's more of like Descent-esque songs and just like not as the punishing following with double bass and the fucking...
They did what everybody does, where it's like, we have a hit with a ballad. Let's go to the ballad route. You know, it's not that those songs are ballads, but it is the lighter side.
So
that's probably
sick.
a little more commercial friendly.
Yeah,
it's understandable why they went that route. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I owned that album, Digimortal, and I remember being like, it doesn't.
Did you have Obsolete too?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I loved that album. Like, in high school, it was great. Like,
there's some really cool shit on there.
good.
Like the ties between my favorite songs are either Descent or Resurrection. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
That song is like, you hear that song, you're like, this is a concept record somehow. You know what I mean? It's like the keys, especially in the chorus of that song, and just how like big and epic it sounds. It's just like, it's like, this has to be a concept record. This just isn't a song about like,
just
you're pissed. Yeah, you know what I mean? But
that's what made that record Obsolete. I believe it came out in 98. Which is what made them the perfect band for around that time. And I'll explain what I mean. They did a thing where they bridged a huge gap between metal and what would be new metal.
Yeah. Yes, they really did.
Yeah, so you could see them on tour with like fucking Pantera, and it makes sense. Them opening up, or like opening up fucking for Ozzy, which I believe they did, or whatever. And then this was the main thing. Around 98, all these bands started bubbling up.
Sure.
Whether it be Coal Chamber or fucking Power Man 5000 or just that whole scene that was like the first wave of it.
Sure.
And they were all about to be essentially the next big thing. But the only thing was there was a big problem with it, which was
wasn't connecting to metal?
No, it was not just, it wasn't that. It was the fact that they were all like fucking green, as they call it. They were like, green is basically a term that's like, they really don't know what they're doing just yet.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And the only way for them to do it is to get on the road and fucking do it every night. And you can't really take a bunch of green bands and put them on the road.
Sure.
Because what happens is you do a thing where they could really only play like 30-minute sets if they're lucky. And that includes like riling up the crowd between songs. You need a headliner.
Okay.
And during this time, Korn in 98 was huge.
Sure.
But Korn did something that was very tactical, which is when Follow the Leader came out, especially, it was probably management influence, but it was probably them as well. They distanced themselves from a lot of that new metal that was coming out.
Okay.
Like they never took on tour Coal Chamber or something like that. What they did was this, which was they never mentioned them because it was like in their head they were better than all of them, which honestly they were. They're the best new metal band ever if there's a new metal hierarchy. Korn? Yeah, I would say, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Popularity wise, groundbreaking. Yeah. Their first record came out in 94. It was ahead of its time, way ahead of its time. And when they did push a band to us through a tour or whatever, it was a band that they like were holding the hand of, like Limp Bizkit, for example. Like they essentially had a piece of Limp Bizkit in getting him signed or whatever. So money wise, it made sense. And also Limp Bizkit made good in it because they were a revolution in their own right. Okay. They also did it with a band called Videodrome, if anyone remembers them.
No, so I know the movie, but
yeah, exactly. Like, so it was a band that was, or like they also, I believe Korn signed Orgy to their label.
Okay.
If anyone remembers that.
I remember Orgy.
But long story short is like, so Korn was only like working with certain bands and not just be like, we'll take out fucking Coal Chamber, we'll take out this band. It was like they were distancing themselves. Sure. So if you can't do the Korn tour and a band like Pantera, who's tearing it up, doing the arena type deals, or Rage Against the Machine isn't going to take you on tour because they don't take you serious, who was going to take you on tour? And the answer was Fear Factory, because Fear Factory will sell out a club like a House of Blues and they'll be able to headline because they're 3 records deep at that point. And they'll welcome all these new metal bands with open arms on their bill because all the bands were hot as shit. So it's like they're bringing fans to the table. And then what happens is the fans who are like 16 years old just looking to get out of the house is going to stay for Fear Factory and then fall in love with them because they were like whooped at that point. Like it was just like they could go on stage, play an hour, fucking crush it and be the best band, and they just exponentially got bigger because of that, because they were taking all these younger bands on tour. It was like perfect. And then you'd see them and they would be like the band that would play like an Ozfest or like headline the second stage. You know, where it's like all these up and comers were playing, but Fear Factory is the band holding it down. You have these fans of Fear Factory that were left over from their metal days, like the more open, like when they would tour with like an Obituary, the open-minded, or like Biohazard they go on tour with. And they would like get fans from that. And like before you know it, Fear Factory has a legion of fucking fans, and They're like almost like a cult followed version of what like a Pantera was. Nowhere near as big.
Sure.
But like it was like the lineup of the 4 Fear Factory members was very important at that time. Christian was a dude who he was from Belgium, but he came over and he was like unbelievably talented. And their drummer Raymond Herrera is fucking
a beast.
Probably
phenomenal.
one of the most like influential to like that next generation of metal drummers.
Yeah.
The guy's footwork
I
is
never
like
hear it though. You
insane.
never hear him mention. I never hear that dude mentioned in any metal drum circles.
Like, he has to be. Like
the only person I
nobody
think
ever
that's
talks
ever
about
really
it, but
talked to
he
me about
should.
that dude was Frankie Harchut.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I
that
think
makes
he's
total
the only,
sense.
Yeah, I think he's the only dude that I've ever talked to about him with that drum.
Raymond Herrera, like when he's kind of made himself obsolete, no pun intended. He has no presence anywhere at this point.
I know.
He
yeah,
is
No
dropped off
social
the map.
media.
Yeah.
Dude, there are guys that like made their way, like their name in 95 in some random ass band that at least have a social media presence.
Yeah.
Right.
They're just like, here's me with my snare I found in my garage. Like, and I'll get 100 likes out of it.
Right.
He has nothing. And like, he just did, and he was working on video games, like doing soundtrack shit for a little bit. But even so, if you're doing anything cool in this day and age, you're social media about it.
flaunt it.
How
Yeah,
long
a
was he
little bit.
in Fear Factory for?
All right, so Fear Factory
Good
had
chunk of it.
All right, so
I know their current drummer or their last drummer, Mike Heller.
Is he from Malignancy?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Fear Factory's lineups go like this. They had a different bassist for the first record, but it was Dino, Raymond, and
Who
Burton.
was the bass player on
His
that
name's
first
Andrew
album?
Sheaves. He was just a random guy from LA.
happened to-
And then Christian came in the band for the Demanufacture lineup.
Yeah.
Just before that, they recorded the record. That's what's known as like the classic lineup of that band.
Yeah.
They did Obsolete together. They did Digimortal, toured the world. They broke up and then did a thing where they got back together with Christian on guitar, Raymond on drums, and Burton on vocals. Dino was not in the band.
Yeah.
And then the bass player
Was Byron from Strapping Young Lad.
Yeah.
Brian
Okay. I remember
Stroud.
that.
They did a bunch of tours off that. Their first record to come back was actually the one you before the one you mentioned, which was
Before
it was called Archetype, which was
Oh,
actually
Dino wasn't on that either?
He was not,
Oh.
and that record's actually awesome.
Yeah.
It was a really great
I just
comeback
don't
record.
remember it.
I remember the album cover.
I was so stoked when they got back together, man, because I had been missing them for so long, and I was like in college at the time. And this will kind of sum it up. Was fucking we were talking about Every Time I Die recently. They were on the Hot Damn tour.
Okay.
Do you like Every Time I Die?
I hate him, but okay.
Hot Damn was kind of a big record for a lot of people.
I remember.
Love that album.
And they're playing the Metro soon with Pete Grossman's band. They're doing the Hot Damn record start to finish, which is
Okay.
gonna be great.
Which is weird because they're not a weed band, but I guess
High
they could do
Priest
it.
is playing that show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How the
which is
fuck
awesome.
did that happen?
There's some connections there.
Yeah, there's
but,
gotta be.
Yeah,
Jeez.
which is awesome.
Which is, and I think
Good
Pete,
for them.
for Pete.
Pete did a thing where he was he did a tour doing guitar teching for one of the dudes. I think he's in that band called the Damn Things. I think Every Time I Die members
okay.
in it.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
that is true.
So whatever. But I mean, you know, like that'll be an awesome show. We're actually playing with Bongzilla that night. So I think
Oh,
we'll be,
okay.
Bummer, 'cause I
we'll be
really
loading
wanted to
into
go to that
Reggie's
show,
when we
yeah.
should be at fucking the Metro
Yeah.
doing Every Time I
wanna
Die
go to
thing.
That show's so
I know.
bad.
But when it comes down to it, Every Time I Die, I was really into the Hot Damn record. We're playing the Fireside that night. Remember the Fireside Bowl?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Be ahead of your time.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, there was an infamous Fetus show there. Everybody's always like, "Yo, you ever see Fetus at the Fireside?" I
saw
was like, dude, I was
Fetus-
8 years old when they played there, man. No, I didn't.
Yeah, I saw Fetus at
That place is-
the old
Did you
Bottom
ever-
Lounge.
Hell
Did you
yeah.
ever see a show at Fireside, or was that before your time?
I saw one show at the Fireside, and oh no, I didn't. No, I don't. I feel like I saw Counterparts there once, but I could totally be wrong. And I had like friends that saw them there, but I thought I saw Counterparts. They're like a hardcore band,
Yeah,
like a melodic
I'm
hardcore band.
familiar with the name.
But
yeah.
Fireside was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because it was
I
like
don't think I was at that show though.
it was like a Saturday night, and it was like essentially my roommate from when I was in college. We were both really into the Every Time I Die record, Hot Damn, and
Okay.
they had just announced that they were playing like a Saturday night at the Fireside.
with Fear Factory.
No.
Okay.
And I was like, he's like, we got to go to this. Like, fucking this band's the shit. I'm like, I won't miss it for the world, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. It's going to be great. About whatever, a few weeks later, they announced, Fear Factory announced we're coming back. Dino's no longer in the band.
Okay.
We have a new record coming out, and we're going on tour with Slipknot. And Slipknot had just dropped Subliminal Verses, or
So
they were about to.
They were opening.
They were like direct support for Slipknot.
Okay.
And it was at the Congress. I saw the dates, and it was the same night
Same
as
day.
fucking Every Time I Die. And I'm like,
Sorry,
I'm
man.
Fear Factory. I've been waiting a while for
Wins
this.
every time, yeah.
And then fucking he comes back. He's like, Every Time I Die, just fucking leveled the Fireside. It was so loud. I go, fuck it. Fear Factory came out and they fucking crushed, dude.
Yeah.
And it was like, when I was at that show where they opened for Slipknot, and it was like chilling, curtain opens, and fucking they open up with Shock from and then it was like cathartic for everyone. Like they're back, boom.
Was Archetype out?
It just come out.
Okay.
So they
and
did
you like that record?
I did a lot.
Did you like Transgression?
I didn't, and there's the one main reason, which was Fear Factory is a band, and there's only a handful of them that are like this, that really can only record with either one engineer, which is this guy Reese Fulber,
okay,
or a guy that's literally following his blueprint. Transgression was recorded with a guy named Toby Wright,
okay,
who has done a lot of great metal records and done a lot of great for a lot of bands. Like he did a bunch of Soulfly records, all that shit.
Okay,
like,
cool.
It's like that 2000 tip engineer. Sure. And he recorded with them, and he doesn't know how to record Fear Factory. And it came out sounding weird. Archetype was done properly.
Was that Reese?
That was either Reese or he was definitely affiliated with it.
Okay.
And then they did a thing where Transgression just missed the mark in a lot of ways. There's still some good songs on that for sure. They ended up breaking up again.
Yeah. And then that whole lawsuit thing happened,
lawsuits. Right? Raymond and Christian leave. Dino returns to the band. And then they have another beast of a comeback record with Burton and Dino together. And its name is drawing a fucking blank right now, called Mechanized.
Okay.
And it was the shit. And then I think they kind of fell off. They just had a record called Genexus that was like, eh. But when it comes down to it, Fear Factory are great at comebacks. That's the first fucking thing. They love it. And they're
due for another one, right? They haven't been doing shit for a while.
If there's one band, I swear to God, man, that I could see the classic lineup again with, it would be that band.
Yeah.
Everyone will. The first band they'll always bring up is Sepultura.
Okay.
Because everyone's like, we need Max back with like all the Andreas and all those guys. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, no, man. Like, Fear Factory is the shit, and they're all still alive.
Yeah,
you know, I know I'm sure Raymond could still kind of do his thing. His chops probably got to get up again, but like Dino and Burton are still doing it.
Are they though? Because I read on that they're like they haven't been doing shit for a while now.
Yeah,
their last record was like 2015, I think.
I remember I talked to somebody about it, but there's some sort of like
legal shit going on again
with the album that is apparently done.
Oh, their record is done?
The record is done. It does exist, but
Isn't
for whatever...
something with the name?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
That band's had legal problems since the
jump. That's the whole thing. And
I don't know why. Like, yeah.
I think it's somewhat of a notorious opinion that Dino's a bit of an asshole, and a lot of people see him that way. I mean, that's how I was introduced to Dino. It's like he's just a huge dickhead dude.
That's what I've heard from a lot of people.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, and just from the press and shit. Like, So I heard Transgression was still like, this band is cool, but didn't really get it or dive into it. And then Divine Heresy came my way, which for those who don't know was Dino's band he did after the Fear, after he initially was either booted or...
Tim Young was the drummer.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And then fucking...
Tommy Vext.
Tommy Vext is now a huge vocalist.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And one of the biggest bands now.
Bad Wolves, which is going on tour this summer with Stained and Disturbed.
Right.
Yeah, they are.
Doing like fucking Shed Tour, which is going to be huge.
Dude,
Good for that. I've met Tommy Vext before, and he was a total... he was like a total nut swinger. Like, he was like... I used to know Lamb of God, like, pretty okay. Mm-hmm. So, like, when he'd hang out with Lamb of God, it would be like, hey, dudes, like, this is what I'm into. I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. Like, all this shit. And they're like, we get it. Like, we get it.
You're cool. All right.
So, like, he's an okay vocalist... But like for what he's doing now, he's like perfect vocalist, sort of douchey metal, sort of that.
Yeah,
and like good for him. Like long time coming. He's probably like 40 or whatever.
Oh,
but like,
yeah, dude.
God bless. Like, I mean, like it sometimes takes a long time for a dude to like get it right.
Yeah,
and then sometimes it happens fucking overnight. There's no right answer. You know. Mm-hmm. I will say this, which is heavy metal's becoming like an old dude's game because it's like when you play like MDF or whatever, it's like all those bands are like my parents' age.
Yeah,
like it's just like like they're kind of getting recognition now for shit they did maybe in their early 20s, which is like a demo, and then they took 20 years off. So it's like, take your time with it, man. Right. Like it's all good.
It's
keep going.
Yeah, so when I first heard Divine Heresy, it was like mind blowing to me because that was like everything I liked almost culminated into one band. They didn't really hit the mark for me as much as they like on paper should have, but I was big into In Flames and Soilwork and like death metal bands. So it was like, all right, you had Tim Young, who's like death metal drummer superstar.
Where did he come from before that?
Oh my God, a billion bands. He was on the first Hate Eternal record. He was already doing shit with Morbid Angel at that time, at least touring. Wow. He's got like a
great roster.
Yeah, like a huge roster. So you have that dude, you have Dino shredding, you have one of the bass players, I think the dude was in Nile for a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
And who passed away recently, I think this
year.
That
who, really?
Yeah, that
I think
dude.
I remember seeing something about that.
And and then you had Tommy Vex.
Tommy Vex.
So Tommy Vex was this vocalist. It's like you hear that song "Failed Creation" that was like their big single on the first record, and I remember hearing it on Music Choice or Comcast Music Choice.
Yeah. The music video was like them in a desert, like fucking wailing. Yeah.
It was just like you saw that
the old
video.
desert music video.
Dude, that video was
Classic
everywhere.
maneuver.
It was everywhere. You couldn't get away from that. And I remember thinking it was like Neil from Ion Dissonance. You ever see that video? They're in a desert jamming.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God, Ion Dissonance. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
We need to talk to Adrian about doing a desert video.
Yeah.
Hit
him up.
Yeah.
We need to find a desert or maybe a beach and then
it's a desert.
Somewhere in the Sahara desert.
Dude. What's our budget for sand?
It's so fucking, so like that record to me was like, whoa. And then I was like, oh, this dude was in Fear Factory, blah, blah, blah. Like I, made the connections then. But I remember seeing like, there's a video on the internet of like, Tommy and Dino getting into like a fight on stage, and that's when like Tommy left Divine Heresy and shit.
That's right.
So it was like that's when this whole big asshole Dino thing kind of came into, blossomed to me. And then I remember Christian had a lawsuit with them, right? Like,
yeah, he
still does.
He did, and
was it like publishing rights or something?
Yeah, there was just. I think everyone sued everyone, and I think I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Dino and Burton are suing each other right now because something's weird. Something's weird with that record that I heard about 2 years ago. Haven't come it hasn't come out yet.
Right.
But such as being in a band, I guess. It's just like when money's being made.
Yeah.
Right.
But that band really. What I'm driving at is if I'm doing the math correctly, it might have already happened actually. Oh no. 25-year anniversary of Obsolete's going to be coming up soon.
Fuck.
And
25 years.
They really
should do something.
They really need that original lineup just doing the run of it.
That'd be so great.
That's the one. And
I would go to that show.
And I think a lot of people fucking would. And when it comes down to it, well, one thing I will say is this, which is egos aside, I know this is the Sepultura example. I know what Sepultura draws as a whatever the Derek Green era Sepultura, and I know what Max's Cavalera Conspiracy draws. It would be that times 3 if the original, maybe even 4 if the original Sepultura would get back together, and then they'd be able to headline these festivals in Europe.
Oh hell yeah!
So the money
would be
blows up.
Yeah,
it's just like that's where the so it's not a money issue, even though everyone wants to get fucking paid fat. But when it comes down to it,
it's being in the same room together,
being in the same fucking room.
I think this is a big issue for a lot of those bands because, we look at it at that standpoint of there's a lot of money to be made by doing some of these reunion shows because there's some bands that they had their due and then they definitely have a second win coming if they can just get together. But the problem is egos, stuff gets in the way and it just may never happen, which is a bummer.
The key is this, man,
which money could be made.
This is so funny. Right now we're on the crux of a Motley Crue reunion this summer. I'm a big Motley Crue fan. The reason that band, they fucking cannot stand each other.
Yeah.
Still does these reunion tours and these long ass tours it's not that they make so much money doing it because when it all shakes down, the crews, the buses, I think they travel in 4 different buses.
They have to. There's no way those guys all ride together on a bus anymore. There's no way.
The main reason is because that era was the 80s where they all overbought. And it's like, I have 3 houses I need to pay for.
Yeah.
And
it was all about decadence. And there was money to...
And I have fucking 5 Ferraris and I need a 6th. And I have divorces I went through. All these
don't forget the cocaine and heroin budget.
Yes. So they're still paying up the ass probably for lawsuits from the 80s and shit. So when it comes down to it, they have to tour. They have no fucking option.
Which makes sense. I mean, I
so
get
it's
that.
and I love them being
that
over
and their other
barrel.
projects don't make as much money as
they make nothing. Right? Yeah, it's just fucking crazy. And then when it comes down to it, Fear Factory did everything smart, and they're like, we really don't need to tour, and we live a modest lifestyle, so fuck this. I'm not getting along with that dude. I'm not going to do it, But the last time I saw Fear Factory was at Concord Music Hall.
Was it the demanufacturer?
Yes. No, it was a tour after that.
Okay.
And they were with Coal Chamber, and Coal Chamber headlined.
Oh, that was like the Cold Chamber
Reunion,
comeback. Right?
yeah.
It was fucking awesome.
That's cool.
So I've seen Fear Factory a bunch, and another thing that was awesome about there was Fear Factory was the first band, mainly on Obsolete, that introduced me to the concept of the hired gun, and I'll explain what I mean.
Yeah.
They had this dude named I think his name's John Bitchdill.
Sick last name, dude.
He was in he was in a couple industrial projects, Ministry for a minute for sure, and he was their longtime touring keyboardist, sampler guy.
All those bands had those guys.
Yeah,
but were like they never got the credit.
They never got
the main credit, but they were there. You know,
and it makes sense because if Reese Fulber's doing all the programming for the records, then it's like, why get him in the band? But this dude was like I saw him play with for 10 years straight with this band or something. And he was just a dude that would tour with them, show up. And every Fear Factory set pretty much starts the same, which is maybe a curtain opening and him playing a sample. And then Burton C. Bell walking up what the fuck, Chicago? And doing that whole thing and riling everyone up when the guy's doing tiddlywinks on a fucking futuristic loop, and then eventually Dino and Christian, all these guys walk out, and then just fucking cut into it.
Yeah, dude.
But he was
That's dope.
I kept saying it as a kid. I was like, why is this guy not in the band? He's in the band, but not in the band, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm just like, oh, he's a hired gun. Now it's everyone's a fucking hired gun. You know, it's this.
Well, it's Frank Delgado of Deftones. He was, it wasn't until the third album, I think, that they were like, he's in the band.
Yeah,
what does he play?
He's their DJ sampler and all that.
He was on White Pony, or no, he was on Around the Fur. He was touring, I think, with them on Around the Fur, and then definitely on White Pony.
And then White Pony, I think, is when he finally got a credit as a band member.
I thought it wasn't until the one after that.
No, I think on White Pony, he has a credit as the sixth member.
Okay, so two things.
Sure.
One, I have a Burton C. Bell story. A couple of years ago, when Adrian and Anna, she was about to leave for a trip to Africa. She was going to be there for a couple months. Adrian held the surprise dinner for her at an Ethiopian restaurant.
Burton C. Bell walked in.
Yeah, dude. So Ministry was playing the fucking Riv.
And he was on tour with them.
Yeah. So we were we all went to this dinner thing, right? And I was there with my ex, Marissa, and I think
Did you ever tell me this story? Because I don't remember this at all.
But I think Jace was there, and all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and Jace doesn't know about a lot of metal shit, and Adrian wouldn't know who so all of a sudden I see Al Jorgensen walk in, and I'm like, holy shit! I was I forgot Ministry is here tonight, and I was like, oh my god! And then Burton C. Bell follows him, and I'm like, Marissa, that's fucking Burton C. Bell from Fairfax. And I'm just like, holy shit! And
that's awesome.
I didn't say anything to them, but they were sitting down, they were having a good time. They all looked like they just walked out of a European rave or something, because they were dressed insane, but
they had that's an awesome story.
Yeah, that is so. You've never told me that.
They were eating Ethiopian food.
Did you approach them?
No,
they
were all sitting. I didn't want to
approach while they're eating.
I wasn't very well versed in Fear Factory, so I didn't have the balls to be
that's fair.
You're the shit. But I did still want to be because I wouldn't have even. I don't give a shit about Ministry that much. I like some of their stuff,
right.
But I would have definitely not said anything to Alan. Been Burton, dude. You fucking rule.
You rule.
And then Al would have been so pissed.
What the hell?
Probably.
Al was
this is his show.
Al looks at himself as the godfather of Fear Factory, 9 Inch Nails, the list goes on.
All things industrial.
All things industrial. And they, for the most part, all give him the credit for it.
Even 9 Inch Nails?
Yeah, I think that that's the one that maybe is no, I remember Trent recently giving Ministry a big shout out.
That's cool.
I feel that's the only one that eclipsed him.
I think
Ministry's a week before 9 Inch Nails.
Is that the record?
Yeah.
What's up?
Is Psalm 69 the record? What's the album with that song? The Ministry album. Do you like Ministry at all?
I love them.
Okay.
So with what song?
Is Psalm 69 a song name or an album name?
It's both.
Okay, that album I think is cool.
That record's awesome.
Yeah.
If you're into that one, you need to explore A Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste. They're very similar.
Yeah.
And they both have just as many bangers. And if I'm not mistaken, Burton was brought on the road to do those songs vocally.
Really?
Yeah, because
that's cool.
It's an aggressive tinge where Al Jorgensen can't really do it at this point.
Screaming anymore?
Yeah,
so is that what he's just doing now? Burton? Shit like that?
Burton is in a band right now with John, who was the keyboardist in Fear Factory for all those years, called Ascension of the Watchers.
Oh, okay.
And it's like very synth-esque. And I think I fucking saw them. They played like a fest in Chicago, like an industrial fest. And Burton, I think, plays guitar and sings.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And, it's an artsy project.
Yeah.
Which is
I like shit like that.
I think it just sucks because we all know, like, I mean, at least I do, like, I think Burton's been put on this world to be the guy in Fear Factory.
Yeah.
And it's funny because couple things with Burton C. Bell, like interesting little stories with him. He was in the Smells Like Teen Spirit video.
Okay.
If you look like, and it's funny because I
timestamp on that.
Yeah, I mentioned it on Something Is Waiting Facebook story a long time ago.
Yeah.
And
by the way, dude, I look forward to those so much. They're so fucking funny, dude. The one you did a fucking Machine Gun Kelly on his tour bus, just ripping on him. Oh my god! I hate him so much, and watch it. It was just like I was really high when I was seeing these stories, but I was like crying. I was laughing so hard. I was on the train.
I had no opinion on that guy before that, but then I saw. I was like, man, I don't like this guy.
Yeah, dude, you kill it with those stories.
I love one of the things I'll attribute to. We were very lucky when our last record came out. We sold a lot of pre-sales for it.
Okay.
And I was like, this is really cool. And I guarantee one of the reasons was because I was thinking of a way to literally stay active with our story every day.
Yeah.
Keeping people interested.
Yeah.
But I want the same theme throughout it.
Sure.
For a promo build-up, it's usually a 2-month span.
Yeah.
That's a long. So I'm like, how am I going to do a thing where it's a 2-month build-up?
Keep that train going.
If anyone remembers, for the 2 months leading up to the release of songs for the Sally Beauty Pavilion, every day the story remained either it was us promoting our tracks that were dropping, or it was all Rock of Love themed with Bret Michaels,
which were phenomenal.
That was good too.
Because I just watched them all and was just commenting and posting, and a couple people that I think are significant people in the metal scene, or just people that really shouldn't give us the time of day like they should, were like, I'm literally getting to the point where I'm looking forward to seeing these minute by minute.
Me too.
Like it was just like, and I was just like, fuck yeah. And that was what kept people interested for the 2-month buildup, which is almost impossible to fucking do.
Yeah.
So anyone who follow the Something Is Waiting pan on Instagram,
do it.
If you want a good laugh.
But when it comes down to it, I had a couple stories, which is I saw Dino. My finishing with the Burton story was I tagged him on saying that he was in the video, and he liked it.
Hell yeah!
We actually got a like. We got a like from Fred Durst.
I saw that. That was insane, dude.
No, we didn't even get a like. We got a like and a comment.
Yeah,
which is fucking.
We're making waves in the new metal scene, man.
For real, man.
Figure 11 did a comment on ours when we talked about them.
Well, the thing that this isn't going to be a Something Is Waiting stroke fest, but at the same time, the thing that sets us apart is we don't. I think our band, besides our drummer who hates all new metal. He hates. So he said recently that he hasn't heard a Korn song.
Oh,
he
what?
said, yeah,
that's bullshit.
No, he did. No, I swear to God,
he's heard it.
Iden Alexander said to us at practice,
being our age, he's heard it.
No, he said it straight up. I asked him to re-say what he said 3 times, and he said it.
Never heard a Korn song.
That is a load of crap. So, he just probably doesn't remember.
Yeah.
In his defense, when I was hanging out with him, we met each other when we were. I think I was 14. He was 16.
At a Korn concert.
No, it wasn't. But he never liked any of that shit, and so that's his. He's like, you remember me? I was never into that bullshit.
He's falling into it now.
He's fucking heard a Korn song.
He's been rocking Sepultura recently.
Really?
Sepultura.
Like what era Sepultura?
He got into
new and old.
Yeah, he loves the new drummer Eloy Casagrande.
Yeah, that dude is insane.
And then there's a great playthrough video that he does.
That dude is such an underrated metal drummer right now.
Absolutely. Never heard of him
he's killer.
Until our drummer showed us. I was like, holy fuck, this dude. And I went back and watched that video again. It was so good.
Gabe loves Ray Luzier from Korn as a drummer.
Yeah.
But can't name a Korn song, and he was trying to show me this one Korn beat, and he goes, I've never heard the song, and he was referencing Freak on a Leash.
Yeah.
This happened recently.
He's trying to show you the beat, even though he never heard the song?
It was weird.
He was trying to play it.
He was trying to play it, and he was trying to play it
right away, but it was just a little bit off because
it was clearly it's that one chorus where it's like dun dun bum bum ba dum bum. But it's actually a cool beat, and it's actually not written by Ray Luzier. It's written by David Silveira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's some really cool.
Who's in a sick band called Core 10 now?
Ugh. Rough. rough stuff.
So-
No, but there's a good video of.
But long story short is Burton Star shit and like that or whatever. But Dino's story I had recently was I ran into him in Vegas and he was eating pizza and I did a thing where I ignored him and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't run up to people.
Dude, if I saw Dino eating pizza, I would be like, I have to tell you why you're the sickest dude in the world right now.
And I've met him before.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one.
Was he cool to you?
Well, back in the day, but I think it was at a meet and greet.
Uh-huh.
So
he's
he had to be cool
obligated
to you.
to
Yeah.
people,
I ran into, Brian O'Halloran in an airport recently and
Hell
I avoided
yeah.
him.
What is he in?
The guy from Clerks.
Clerks, yep.
Oh.
Dante.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
That dude's the shit.
I also ran into Jerry Lawler at an airport not too long ago, the wrestling guy, and I'm the biggest wrestling guy in the world.
I know.
I had to
Is that
shake
the
his
one?
hand.
Yeah, that's
Was that
sick.
the one where your friend was like, dude, like go, and you didn't want to?
Oh yeah, that's
Jerry
exactly
Lawler,
the one.
yeah.
So good.
And then
those
what's
are
fun?
tough situations because like I'm in the mindset of like I don't want to bother these guys.
I know, and
I'm sure they get it all the time, and it's like, and you meet them in some like random spots too, where you're like, this is the last place that they probably want to be confronted, by some random fan. So you never want to like. I feel like I'm always
Sure.
I'm sure that some of it's not, but you never know.
It does suck, and at this point, it's like I'm 35. I should be able to have normal conversations with
a
these
human
people.
being, not
yeah,
just like
it's just like
it's
totally
hard
freak
not
out.
to though.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
Also, I hate the fact that there's people who are like 10 years older than me who have these social media presences that literally are like raping that concept. Where it's like, I ran into this dude. Like, here's a picture of us. It's like that dude doesn't want to take a picture with you. And I know you get like a little more likes or whatever, but it has to be someone very, very important to me. That's like a wild card that I need to like take a picture with.
Well, they're
Dino's not that guy, huh?
speaking of running into stars, I ran into
He should be.
Yeah, he should
I ran
be.
into that actor Thomas Lennon from Reno 911.
Oh yeah,
I love him.
He
'Cause
lives here.
He's an Oak Park guy. Yeah.
Fuck, that's awesome.
And
I love that guy.
Yeah,
I was
my
at
ex took a
he
picture
was
with him.
in the state as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal actor, like comedian.
Dude, did you hear that Jarred Loose did a cover of the state theme song?
What?
Oh, dude. Like, this is a quick side.
Where does that exist?
Yeah, we
dude.
got to get back to this fucking
Sorry.
album.
This will be the
sometime.
last. Yeah. But when it comes
I
down
still
to
have more Fear Factory stories.
it, so do I. We did a Something Is Waiting record. Or no, wait. A Jarred Loose record. And it was Grossman and the band. We had like decided like this was going to be like a teaser track. And Decibel released it. And it was us covering the state theme song.
Fuck, I
and
don't
we
remember
all
that
did
at all.
it. And we had to like replicate it. And we did it, and it was released. I'll send it to you later, but we
Yeah.
did do it. So, like,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love Lennon. He was also in "I Love You, Man," which I recently rewatched. Fucking so good.
Real quick, I ran into him. I was with my buddy Nick. We were walking down the street in Oak Park, and he just happened to be walking by.
Recently?
Nah, I think this is like a year ago
Yeah,
or two.
okay.
I think I might have mentioned it before, and like. I just was like, oh, like, hey man, like, what's up? Like, I had because he was going right past me, so I'm like, oh, now's my chance. I just said, what's up, man? Like, nice to see you. Like, love your work. Like,
What did he
you know,
say?
he was like, oh, thank you so much, man. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
this
And I
is
was,
cool.
and shook his hand. And I was like, all right, man. Have a good
Dude,
one.
I would have
And
been
that was
like,
it.
Dino.
And then he
better
just
than
you
I
know
wouldn't
went
say
on with
that.
his day. And then Nick was like, he goes, who was that? And I was like, Thomas Lennon. And he was
Yeah,
like,
Reno
wait a
911,
minute.
bitch.
He's like, is that Lieutenant Dangle? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's him. He goes, holy fuck. He goes, I thought it was like one of your friends the way you acted. I was like, well, yeah, I didn't want to like blow him up, be like, yo, let me get a photo and like do this,
Yeah.
do that. I was like, dude,
Like
looked like
me.
he was like on his way to something. So I'm not gonna like,
Dude, if
chew his
I-
fucking ear off. So I was like, go
If I
ahead,
ever
do
had
your
a
thing,
chance to take a shirt with like Dino and both of us got to take our shirts off, like if we took a picture like that, I'd be so happy. It'd be so sick, dude.
He did a thing where shout out to Dino because recently the day that he's a big Lakers fan, that band's LA to the bone.
Yeah.
Fear Factory, which I love about them. But when it comes down to it, he's a big Lakers fan. And when Kobe died, he posted a picture with him.
Kobe and Dino?
No, it was
that had that height difference.
Yeah.
it was Dino with his collection of Kobe shoes,
Oh, whoa.
which was like
that's sick.
it looked like there was 50
He's
pairs
a
of
shoe
them.
guy, huh?
And he goes, they're all Kobe model though.
That's
He's like,
dope.
this is my guy, and like the shoes that it's funny because when I saw him in Vegas, he was wearing a pair of Kobe's. And like that was his tribute to Kobe, and I was like, "This is so fucking
That's
rad."
dope. That's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
So, and then Fear Factory had always a look to him, which was like,
Yeah.
when it was like we were in the Phil Anselmo thing of like cut off everything. They had like a slicker look to them. Usually black clothes.
Yep.
Like Dino for years would just wear like a standard issue black T-shirt.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he never really repped anything.
Yeah, black shorts.
Google images.
And
Always
then
shorts,
He'd
cargo
wear a
shorts,
fucking
yep.
pair of like tight-fitting Oakley sunglasses.
Yep.
And like it was rad as shit. And there's my favorite Dino outfit ever is I'm a big wrestling fan, as everyone knows. They did a thing where they used to have these beach parties on MTV during what they would consider spring break.
Yeah.
And Fear Factory, they had like a battle royal once with WCW, and Fear Factory was a band that was positioned on the side of them, and they played through it, like while the wrestling was going on. And Dino was wearing a shirt of that fucking brand called, remember that brand Porn Star?
Vaguely.
It just said it was a shirt that just said fucking porn star on it, but it was actually a brand.
Right.
But it was like supposed to be a sarcastic guy. I'm a fucking porn star or whatever. But there's a great picture of him and the legendary wrestler Chris Jericho from that's like viral,
cool.
where it's them hanging out like fucking, he's wearing the porn star shirt with Chris Jericho. It's like a 20
Chris Jericho probably so fucking stoked about that. Yeah, he's a big metalhead and everything.
He actually apparently, which is probably a lie, he was the one that told WCW to book Fear Factory for this. Like back in the day, he's like, they're the shit or whatever.
I can't imagine that being his first pick of bands.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I totally
Maybe they gave
that.
him a list of like 10 bands, and he's like,
And that was like the one that he was like, all right, if we're going to do one, do at least that band. Yeah.
And then Kid Rock was the host of it.
Of course.
And apparently Jericho.
No, MTV Beach Party's complete without Kid Rock.
Apparently Jericho, Fear Factory, and Kid Rock hung out like all night raging that night.
Oh, I'm sure.
Damn,
yeah.
that's sick.
So that's a sick rage
That's
session.
awesome.
Yeah, I would fucking love to hang out with those dudes. Okay, what's your favorite song off Obsolete? Is it Edge Crusher?
Edge
Crusher, I would say, is like, to me, when I listened to the record, it was the most nu metal sounding song, I would say, out of most of them.
Great song, though.
Yeah, it is good. Shock was also pretty nu metal, but I like that
Shock
song a lot too.
Shock has a special place in my heart because when I was in high school, I think I was either a freshman or sophomore. Or like any high school, they always have like the variety shows, you know? And it's always like the same shit. Like,
Yeah.
and like, you know, what bands there were, you know, they play it safe, playing, you know, easy, like Weezer, Blink 182, all that stuff. And there was an older group, like, I think they were seniors or whatever. They fucking did Shock by Fear Factory.
Really?
Which was insane to hear at a Christian high school.
Yeah, but how did they play that? That's hard.
Nah, it's not that hard. Like, I mean, they didn't do it. I don't, like, looking back, I'm sure they didn't do it that well, you know? But to me, it was cool because, like, there was a level of, like, validation to it because
that's a big dick move.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, and it's a pre-internet era, like, almost. Like, internet wasn't as big as it was. So, like, to me, it was like, I don't know anybody else that listens to, like,
So
Fear
you were
Factory.
definitely down with Fear Factory then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So when I heard this, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, all right, these, like, older kids are, like, they're
Down
into it.
with it.
That's cool. Like,
It's a good validating
It
feeling.
really was. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And the other great thing about it was, granted, the school's old as all shit, and it's probably got god-awful wiring. They blew the power while playing that. Yeah. I was like, this is awesome.
Really,
this is the most metal
shocked
thing
it,
ever.
huh?
Yeah.
So is that your
So
favorite
it's so
song off the
cool.
record? Or
Shock?
you said Descent.
Descent is like one of my
Okay.
favorites.
I
yeah.
think
that and the self-titled song Obsolete is
Okay.
that
so
chorus
good.
is like the shit because it's just so heavy. Like, I love that.
I will say this, which is that record, start to finish, for me is like as close to attendance as it's going to get.
Yeah, it's up there.
And I think it's with the concept record being, or that the record concept being wrapped up in it, the fact that it's like a tight 10 tracks.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the perfect length.
Yeah.
All that wrapped it, and it's like it was the time where I was discovering music and it was changing my life positively. There's that. I do think it's a 10 out of 10 record for me. I think all the songs are great, but I do think Shock is the only one that flirts with being fucking iconic.
Yeah.
Because like when you hear that intro and they do something super smart, which is like some of the best songs that start off records have like a build up to it.
Yeah.
You hear the first thing you're going to hear is like a sound clip, which is basically just like a fucking
some sample. Yeah.
some like sample that just sounds badass, and it's if you listen to it in a car stereo, it's floating around.
Sure.
So it's like it's in the back speaker at one point. It's there, it's this, and it's just like really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Which was a forward thinking way of doing shit. Now it's like totally commonplace, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like when you engineer something, it's like, yeah, we're gonna put one in this speaker,
Yeah, like panning
whatever.
and shit.
Yeah, the panning.
Yeah.
Panning wasn't a thing back then.
Yeah.
Once they kick into it, you're gonna hear guitar and then bass drum and the snare with the hi-hat.
Don't forget the massive 808. Like,
Yeah.
No, but they're gonna build it up, and then you're like, this sounds heavy as fuck. About halfway through that, after they do like 1 or 2 bars of it, the bass comes in. Boom, 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 boom. And then it's like, oh, now it's really heavy.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you're at this culmination, it's stoppage. You hear the word shocks screamed by Burton.
Dude.
The 808 hits, and it's fucking on.
Yeah, it is on, dude.
Just takes off
Hell
from
yeah.
there.
So that is the only one that flirts with being an iconic track. And honestly, I've seen Fear Factory a bunch, and they've opened up with a bunch of different songs. But when it comes down to it, it's always been that one that's been like the mainstay.
Yeah.
They open up with like 70% of the shows I've seen them at.
Okay, what else have they opened with?
When on the or the Digimortal tour, they opened up with the first song on that, which is called "What Will Become." Great song. And then on the Demanufacture tour, I saw them open up with, I believe, the first song on that, which is Demanufacture. And then also, they played with Suffocation. I saw them one time at fucking Metro.
Who headlined that?
Fear Factory.
Whoa, and Suffocation was direct support?
Yes, and it was sold out. But
what crazy?
What year was that? Like, what was going on? What album were they on?
They were on. I don't know what album Suffocation was on, but Fear Factory was on a very loose anniversary tour of what would have been Soul of a New Machine.
Okay.
And they're like, we're going straight death metal with it. And they opened up with a song called Crash Test.
Yeah.
Which was probably the 4th song on Soul of a New Machine.
Yeah.
So it's like it always would depend on but for the majority of the times, like whenever there's a big show, I remember like them direct support for like a banger band, it would always be Shock because it's it's like dropping a bomb in the middle of that fucking
That's a great
room.
opener.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, there's parts on Obsolete where it's like you're kicking someone in the chest, dude. It's like you're totally beating the shit out of somebody.
Fuck yeah.
Like there's some aggro shit on that record. It's awesome. And like the fact that it's this big, like me looking back on it now, I look at for those who don't know, the concept is kind of like a dystopian future type thing. It's like kind of like a superhero story about this character Edge Crusher who is like trying to overthrow, like society's been taken over by machines, like technology is now like the ruling class.
Matrix-esque before the Matrix.
Yeah, so it's just like, I mean, now you've seen that story done so many times now. So me like looking at like, when did that record come out? 97?
I think it was 98.
Yeah, 98. And it's just like, wow, at the time, this must have been
kind of
like
weird,
the
right?
shit.
If you try to put it back in that time, you're like, holy shit. Like,
but
there wasn't a lot of bands doing that.
I'm going to go with my favorite song probably being Resurrection, just because it's like, it's weird. It's not like the super tough song. And like Burton singing, like, it sounds like, I don't even know what I would compare it to, but it's such like to me, it feels like an oddball song for a band like Fear Factory because they're normally heavy, aggressive, like, you know, that type of shit. Like even like the choruses and some of the other songs that are like, yeah, he's singing, but it's like obviously like the little evil, weird type shit going on. But Resurrection is just like, because that part in the story, it's about like the character has like nowhere else to go. Edge Crusher doesn't. And like he like finds a church and is like having this revelation about Jesus. It's like so like, what the fuck? Like crazy. And then he gets captured by the Securitrons. And, you know.
Little deep cut in the life of Eddie Gobbo, which is being a big Fear Factory fan back then. Knowing the concept and the Securitrons were like the bad guys.
Yeah.
And they were like ever watching.
Yeah.
I had my first cell phone around that time. And my parents essentially had to keep tabs on me when they needed to text me or whatever. My dad was like, I'm his only son, so he was like a hawk with me. The girls, it was like, let your mother deal with them. So in my first fucking cell phone, I did a thing where I logged his name as Securitron.
Hell yeah.
I still have his name as that because every time my phone's updated, going on 20 years at this point, I get a new phone, whatever transfers over. His name is an ever staying, and he has still the same cell phone number.
That's dope, man.
So I just missed this phone call from Securitron.
Oh shit, dude. Oh man, that's so funny.
He's the fucking Securitron, dude. It's so funny.
That's dope. It's a great record. I was super happy listening to it.
That's awesome.
Definitely
I'm glad you liked it.
I did not expect to enjoy it that much because I've seen like people talk like usually the two records I always see talked about are Obsolete or Demanufacture. Like, and I don't even think I've heard Demanufacture front to back yet. I don't think I've ever done that. Yeah, Obsolete is like the first Fear Factory record I really. Now I'm about to take the deep dive into that band.
That's
like
awesome.
I'm right
Hell
there.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, I think they're the shit.
They're cool. I mean, they definitely came out swinging with a very unique sound that nobody else was really doing.
And like I said, when I was growing up, like Fear Factory never got shit on by anybody I know. Like they were never grouped as like a Korn new metal band. Not saying that, like, I mean, I knew a lot of guys that shit talked Korn and like,
for sure.
and I eventually did at a certain point at a certain age too, when I was like 16, but Fear Factory never got, I always feel like they had more of the true metal guy crowd won over a little bit.
They definitely wore it on their sleeves,
especially on their later shit too. When they just started doing, like the later stuff they did, like when Dino joined again. I know like a lot of metal guys like that. And
dude, there is a huge influence of bands like New Order and the Smiths and all that shit. Darkwave in their Fear Factory. All those metal dudes that were like old school metal as fuck. That was like they're like, what's the term for it? Guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
Like the ones
like
that
they
would listen like with their girlfriends, put their arms around them. That was, so if they're exploiting their guilty pleasure as well as being a badass metal band, they're like, where do I fucking sign up?
Exactly. Yeah.
This band is the shit.
That's a good way to put it, man. Because they really do have that like style kind of going on in some songs where it's just like, I do hear that like the Smiths, little influence and shit. That's so weird.
It was just dude, Fear Factory changed my life so many. I have no, like when I write music, there's zero influence that has carried over. Like I sound nothing like Burton C. Bell.
Sure. Yeah.
Any riff I've ever written has been nothing like Dino, but they're still one of my favorite bands ever, which makes no fucking sense. But when you are like a Pantera fan growing up, Pantera was this fucking juggernaut where it would be like, you basically got a chance to see them once a year, maybe twice when they come through your city, even though you live in fucking Chicago. Fear Factory was touring like a lot quicker around the United States.
Yeah.
And you'd get to see them like, sometimes I saw them at like when they were hot as shit. I saw them once like 4 times in 1 year.
Yeah.
And the best time was like, and this was one of the best concerts I've ever been to in my life. I was 16.
That's a lot of times to see a band in a year. 4 times.
That's
it is a lot.
Yeah. It was like just 4 times.
In Chicago?
It was all in Chicago. I saw them twice at House of Blues, once at the Riv, and once on like, I want to say an Ozfest.
Yeah.
And this one time, man, like Digimortal was just like about to come out. And I was like 16. We did a thing where on Monday nights we would all go to this thing that was like this church, which was like, it was one of like they tried to teach you like a gospel message, but it was just a bunch of kids partying on a fucking Monday night, to be honest with you. Babes there the whole thing. And we would just do it to get out of the fucking house and go like talk with girls. And did this thing where when about a week before that, House of Blues announced that Fear Factory was coming through.
Yeah.
Like they were connecting to a tour and they're like, let's just book a Chicago show.
Yeah. Damn.
And it was so underpromoted and we heard about it and we're like, well, our parents are all fucking Nazis, so like we're not going to use this one as a card. We're just going to say we're going to this fucking church gathering as we do every Monday, and we're driving to fucking House of Blues. And as long as our car doesn't get towed, it's going to fucking rock. There was at House of Blues, which holds 1,800 people, there was about 600 people there for Fear Factory. When normally they would sell it out like clockwork.
Yeah.
And they fucking came on. I think they had one opener, which I believe was Il Nino.
Okay.
Awesome.
And they kicked ass. And then fucking Fear Factory came on and did the best set I've ever seen them do.
That's sick.
And that was the only time I saw them play Resurrection.
Oh, interesting.
Because they had to fill like an hour and a half worth of shit. When usually it was 3 new metal bands open for us, play their 30 minutes, the changeovers, we play an hour, crush it, we're off fucking stage. They need to fill that extra half hour, and we got some deep cuts, and it was fucking awesome.
What album were they touring on at that point?
It was Digimortal was about to come out.
Okay, cool. We should move to this 40 Below Summer record.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? I feel like I've said
40 Below Summer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. What was your least favorite song? Mine was
I don't know, man. Dude, I was
the cover.
The Cars cover?
Yeah.
I like that cover, dude.
I really don't like it.
Dude, I know.
Dude, that track, that's another iconic song because it was like
that song is like fire, dude. I love that shit.
I don't know.
I would say my least favorite song was probably Freedom or Fire because it just felt like, okay, it's another heavy one. I don't really need this at this point in the record.
That's fair.
That's probably mine. But it's still like a good this was a really challenging record to pick out a song I didn't like. Mm-hmm. Even the goofy shit where I was like, that's kind of tacky. I still enjoyed it.
There's still redeeming elements.
Yeah, where I'm just like, this is still like a banger, dude.
I gotta give props, and I know like Adam T from Thieves is a big Fear Factory fan.
Oh yeah.
Anyone who's carried that torch and still carries it, man, Thank you.
Well, you got me on board, dude. Like,
because like that band is like I said, the main thing was this, which is like Pantera was life back then for me, but Fear Factory was the band that I could see on a more regular basis, and because of that, they became essentially my secondary flagship band. And like it would be a band that you could like maybe think about running into like at a 7-Eleven, as opposed to Pantera that were just like on this untouchable
level
thing.
Yeah,
where it's
they were
like
more reachable guys.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, when I was in high school, the amount of bands that I looked up to, that like me and Eric, I remember we saw After the Burial at Mojo's in Tinley Park. And they were
that
like,
was the show I was at too.
We were like, they were talking about like some Fear Factory record they were listening to. I was like, what? You guys like that band? They're like, dude, we love Fear Factory, you know? And then like Burning the Masses, the same shit with them. They're like, yeah, dude, Fear Factory is the shit. Yeah. So it's all like, wow, like I didn't know like these
how
like
influential.
Yeah, how they were to like the metal bands that I really liked back when I was like in high school and shit. So it's cool to see the full, and I mean, I get it now.
Yeah,
like,
now that you've heard it,
especially with After the Burial doing all like the rhythmic shit. It totally
super
makes
tight,
sense.
like
Because to me, I'm just like, oh, Meshuggah. Like, you know what I mean? But Fear Factory
really
did they ever
honed in on
tour?
it.
They should have fucking toured together.
No, I think that, you know what's funny is this, which is right around the time that it took a while for, I had heard about Meshuggah in around the time I really got into Fear Factory.
Okay.
But they were a band that it took them a while to get wrapped up in the United States culture. It didn't really do a thing until like the record Nothing came out. I think that really was like, they're basically a band that's a United States like whatever band that's going to tour, do that whole thing.
Well, they extended that record cycle when they redid the album. Not that I want to go on a Meshuggah tangent, but they had Nothing on those weird ass intonated, like unintonated 8-string guitars.
Oh,
because
right.
it was like, the prototype
like
guitars
totally
they got from like Ibanez or something. And then they redid Nothing and did like Ozfest that year, I believe.
I saw them on that.
Yeah, and like it was this total surge. So it was just like, oh, here's the same record. It just sounds like way insanely tighter now. Yeah,
which that's my favorite record of theirs, to be honest. Yeah, I love it.
Fucking dude. I mean, have you seen them live? I mean, obviously you have it.
I've seen them live like I think 5 times,
dude.
And I made fun of Nate recently inadvertently, which was he saw I think with you guys or whatever.
Story of our lives.
We went like there's like a fucking show that he went to go see Meshuggah not too long ago, in the last 2 years or so.
I went with him. We were at that show.
And then
together.
I said to him, like with a straight face while having a drink in Evanston, like, was anyone at that show? He's like, it was packed.
Dude, it was sold out.
Yeah. And I was just like, that was kind of a half-ass joke.
Yeah.
But like, you know,
awesome.
I let Meshuggah, I let everyone else take them. Because like
they're not your band.
I saw them a bunch on Nothing. I saw them on Obscene, and that was basically it. And then I saw them before Nothing came out once.
Okay.
So I saw them like 5 times. And that's fine.
Damn, that's cool. You saw them before Nothing.
The best time I saw them,
Chaos Sphere, dude. That's like some fucking
cool.
beat. That's like, in my opinion, not to go on a tangent about Meshuggah because that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but like. Chaos Sphere is such a sick merge of death metal and new metal, and nobody fucking ever acknowledges that. But there's so many sick like new metal like riffs and parts on it where I'm just like, damn, this is like I could see this being in a Korn song, or I could see this being in a certain song, but nobody will fucking admit it. But it's like they were huge at the time, and like the aesthetic of that record fit. Another conversation for another time.
But yeah, the best time I saw Meshuggah was on the Nothing tour, and it was at Metro with Devin Townsend. Oh no, it wasn't Devin Townsend. It was Strapping the Lead.
That's awesome. Shit, okay.
Yeah, and that was it. It was like a Monday, and it wasn't sold out. And dude, they just fucking, they went on stage with no amps and did that whole thing. And everyone's like, where's the fucking amps? And it's like, where's the Marshalls? There ain't no, dude.
Yeah.
And they fucking crushed. It was
first
great.
Time I saw Meshuggah, I saw someone get their ass beat to the first song on Nothing, Stenga, when they kicked in.
Ooh,
some dude just got shit.
That's a great riff. The one riff I play.
Some dude got his shit like rocked during that song, and I was like, "Whoa, this is intense!"
Game
like,
over.
Yeah,
Ben, dude, there's a lot of great. Those first 4 songs on that Nothing record,
dude, so heavy. Dude, that's yeah, dude. Fucking Rational Gaze.
All right, let's just go to Meshuggah. Just
okay,
right now.
So 40 Below Summer. Step into the Sideshow. This
Invitation to the Dance is the album.
Step into the Sideshow
is my favorite song on the record.
That's probably my favorite song too. Holy shit! What a fucking culmination of what I envision new metal to be.
Like, if you look up new metal in the dictionary, those motherfuckers are right there.
Yeah.
Like,
the look, the name,
everything, every aspect of it is new metal as fuck.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I enjoyed the listen though, and I will say I did probably enjoy it more than that Finger 11 record.
Really?
Just because it was so much more nu metal-y. You know what I mean? It was so much more
sure.
like. I will say my favorite song is probably the first one. I forget what I'm gonna look up what it's called.
We the People.
We the People.
Yeah, but that song is such like an instant like banger, dude.
It's a great opener too, because it's another one of those like build-ups and then gets right into it.
40 Below, I saw them live once, and I'm trying to pinpoint it.
On that record?
Yeah, it had to have been, because 40 Below is a band that came out with that record. I want to say it was 2001. And that was a sad time for bands who were coming out around the time, because literally I think that record came out like weeks after 9/11.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Invitation to the Dance is 2002, so that would make sense.
Okay. Oh, it's 2002.
That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah,
So it's
02.
right after 9/11.
Okay. But it came out
I
after
believe it was
9/11.
Soil's album that came out on 9/11, right?
Ooh.
Somebody was telling me that.
I don't know.
The Slayer record God Hates Us All came out on 9/11,
did.
and so did POD's the one with their big record Alive and all that stuff on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man.
9/11 was a
Terrorists
Tuesday.
didn't win that day.
I remember, yeah.
And Tuesday was the day records came out. So,
Yeah, remember that? That only changed a few years ago.
Yeah, I think our
record release day?
Yeah.
Is it
to
not
Friday.
Tuesday?
It's
It's
Friday.
Friday?
It's
now.
Friday
been
now,
Friday
yeah.
For the
And
last,
I said it when we
Why
were.
was it Tuesdays?
I don't know.
Is
I
it
don't
just
know.
something that
There was
happened?
a lot of
and
media
they're
that
like,
came out.
go
Like
for it?
video games would come out on Tuesdays.
I
Like,
think they were Wednesdays, video games.
I thought it was when I was buying them. It was Tuesday, at least at like Best Buy.
Yeah, I
and
thought
shit.
it was like Tuesday was music, Wednesday was games, Thursdays was movies, right?
We were
could be
discussing
true.
Reiner, the guy who runs our label, Learning Curve, and me were discussing the release date for our last record. And then I kept saying, like, what about this day? And I kept
picking Tuesdays.
picking Tuesdays. Like, and he kept coming back with Fridays.
Don't do that anymore.
No, we didn't talk about it. He kept coming back with Fridays. I go, what the fuck's going on? And then finally he's like, records come out on Fridays now, dude.
Get with the
They've
times,
been, I remember
man.
when Monarchy by Rivers of Nile came out, like that was like right around that shift, and it was supposed to come out on a Tuesday, and they're like, we have to change it to a Friday because apparently the whole format is changing. Like I remember Biggs, their bass player, telling me about it. I was like, oh,
Interesting.
that's weird.
It is weird.
And I felt like I was getting gypped. I was like, dude, what about those 3 days? I mean, I already had the album, I think, at that point.
Right.
Like they just sent it to me, but I was just like,
But you wanted the
yeah,
physical,
I want to
yeah.
go, but it doesn't matter.
Pretty sure I saw 40 Below with Seven Dust when I did.
Yeah,
Awesome.
really.
And 40 Below, this is the best way I could describe them, which is I am not by any means. I'm actually sort of like a Deftones hater, to be honest with you.
Really? Okay.
Because I saw them
Very
live a
unfortunate.
bunch. I saw them on White Pony. I saw them on the record.
I love the Deftones now. I didn't used to, but now I think they're like
Glad
an
you
awesome
finally
band.
came around.
Dude, you gotta hear. I'm not gonna. So both of you guys should hear this album because it's gonna be a fucking hit. It just dropped Friday. That band Brody showed me, Loathe.
Oh, yeah.
They just dropped a new record. They're this metalcore band from
Oh.
England, and they just dropped this new record. It's like a hybrid
Dave
of that.
just showed me that.
The
'cause he
name
was
is
talking
cool.
about
I showed it to him.
He said Danny showed it to him.
I
Oh,
showed it to
dude.
Danny, who showed it to him.
Okay.
It's all me. That record just dropped.
trickle it
Loathe.
off.
It dropped on Friday.
He fucking
People
copied
are-
your homework and handed it in fucking first.
Yeah, because that's what Danny likes to do is fucking weasel ass.
Damn, Danny.
Yeah, fuck
I will
him, man.
always say, I will say this on camera. If anyone, rarely does someone put a band in front of me that I haven't heard of before. You just did actually, Loathe.
You should check it out.
And
I mean, I
will.
don't know if you'll enjoy it, but I think you should.
My
you
ear
would-
is so to the fucking ground that when someone comes to me and goes, dude, I got this band for you, got to check out. And then they tell me, I'm like, I've been listening to that band for 2.5 years, dude.
Yeah.
So it's hard to catch me. Like I get up pretty fucking early in the morning. But when they do, I will always say to people when I then go recommending them out to other people, this dude pitched them to me.
Okay,
Like I give them the
appreciate
credit.
that. If you
Yes,
enjoy
exactly.
it and you
Nice.
recommend
'Cause I
it,
take that shit fucking serious, and they don't do it with me.
Okay.
Like I'll be like, they'll never be like, Gobbo showed me this band. I'm like, oh yeah, who fucking showed you this band? That the T-shirt you're fucking wearing
Yeah.
was me. Fucking me.
well,
dude.
you're my. I mean, Fear Factory. From here on out, I'll be like Gobbo's the dude that turned me on to them. I
Cheers.
never could get into it beforehand.
Okay.
I never could, and like that, just like listening to it like that, it was like I'm at work doing like payments, and then I'm just like, what? I keep stopping it, and I'm like, I'm like, Alex, listen to this, and then like we got into Max's car the other day. I was like, dude, put the song on, like. Because Max like flirts with Fear Factory
sure,
to the
yeah.
point where he's like, I know I will love them, but I haven't made the deep dive. And I was like, you got to do it, man. You'll love this shit. But anyway,
awesome.
check out that band Loathe. Their new record is, I think it's so fucking sick. But I'm seeing people on Facebook being like, this is the best record of all time. People are freaking
What?
the fuck out about it.
Is the band writing that?
No, it's other dudes in metalcore bands. For some reason, it's like that new metalcore sound, not like Kill Switch, but like kind of like the Sworn In type shit.
Okay.
Not really though, but it's mixed with the Deftones type sound. It's like got this weird it's like they weave in between like shoegaze and these like beat down parts.
What was the one that they had?
It's really weird.
They had the single that sounded like Team Sleep, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I cannot wait to listen.
Yeah, it's sick. It's called I Let It In, and it took everything. And I
Okay,
just
so
bought it on CD.
that's a cool
vinyl.
name. That's
It
a
is
cool name for a fucking record. All right, I'm down. This thing. I always thought of 40 Below Summer as a band that took the one record. I liked Around the Fur as well. That I liked from Deftones was Adrenaline, the first one.
Fuck yeah.
And 40 Below, I always saw as a band with, especially for that first record, that took that Adrenaline sort of template and like kind of ran that direction. Because Deftones kind of looked at Adrenaline after the fact as like kind of passe. Like it was just like, I think they don't give that record any props. And it's just them kind of being a garage band. But like there's some bangers on it for sure.
That's the one with the seashell on the cover, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's a great, man.
Yeah, it's a good album.
Ford, Engine Number 9.
That song is sick, dude.
Fuck. It's so good. I love that album.
The first time I heard Engine Number 9, it was the Suicide Silence cover of Engine Number 9.
What?
Yep.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Old. They did it after like their first record or their second record.
Like
around that time. Yeah.
The riff of the 90s was some variation of da na 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 na.
Yeah.
So many bands have done that.
It was all new metal was
and that's their riff.
Hell
The
yeah.
binary
code.
Engine Number 9.
Their tabs are binary code. Is what we always joked about because it was 01, 01, 01, and whatever variation of it. That's what it was.
And then
all of them did it.
Wait, okay, so Engine Number 9 was. It's something along I just did the riff for Head Up, which is on but Engine Number 9 is the same riff, but it's I think faster.
And it's tuned up.
Yes. All right.
Because they go down in tuning.
And there's it's funny because the song on Adrenaline Bored, like half of which it has a great riff. Like that's a killer riff. Chino's half the lyric. This is why he's my least favorite vocalist ever. He's like the laziest piece of shit. He always, he's always talking about, and it's total gibberish, and then the word bored always comes out perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why is that word so important to you? Like, it's just like.
It's the name of the song, man.
No, I mean, like, no, his whole career.
He wants you to make sure.
I'm just like, we know you're bored. We get it. Stay bored somewhere else. But I always looked at 40 Below as a band like Adrenaline Part 2. And the cool thing about this band is, we were referencing it. They come out with their record in 2001, 2, whatever it was. They did have a record out before then that was essentially like a kind of a self-release type deal. I want to say it was in the late 90s, 99 or whatever. But they get signed, do this record, and then they proceed to like put out several records in the later 2000s.
Well, they broke up.
And then my rebuttal is like, that's rad. Even though they broke up for a while, they still had the like common sense to come back and say, we're going to create new music.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I saw the last record is 2015.
Yeah,
that's
insane.
Blew my mind when I saw it because I know when they came back, they're like, "We got a new album coming out," and I was like, "Oh, cool."
Is it all the same dudes?
I think it's a different drummer and bass player,
but mostly. I mean, the vocalist is still in the band.
Vocalist and guitar player.
That guy's got to be the highlight of that band.
Sure, I think so.
The vocalist. Yeah.
Funny story. Like, I've only seen him twice. It once was like a long time ago, and it was awesome because I went to the show House of Blues, and this is how much I liked that band. Was I didn't know they were playing the show. We went for the headliner. I don't even remember who the fucking headliner is to this day.
This is at House of Blues.
Yeah, I just remember 40 Below coming on stage, and I was like, this is the coolest fucking show ever.
Dude, they might have been.
Just loved it, but don't remember who else played that show.
You know what's funny is the last time we did this new metal podcast, I said I saw Finger 11 once, and it was with Seven Dust. And I saw
everybody's with Seven Dust.
Yeah, Seven Dust toured.
They're the cornerstone of all metal.
Yeah, See, they're another fucking like type of band that I would like put in the same tier as Fear Factory in the sense that they get a pass from metal guys a lot of the time, dude. Yeah,
everybody.
One day we will do on this podcast a Seven Dust record. Someone's going to make it.
Oh, absolutely.
If I don't next time, but which I might. I almost
that
did it
band
for this one.
That band's pretty great.
I mean, choice,
and they're still doing it, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, they're the band that's funny. Like
they're still putting out solid songs too.
Oh yeah.
Can't stop, won't stop, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're the band that's funny that everybody talks about. And it's true that whenever you see them live at some show, mostly festivals, that's like their bread and butter is doing festivals. Side stage is fucking packed elbow to elbow.
Really?
Of all the bands just being like, gotta watch these guys.
Yeah, because they rip.
They just kill it live.
Yeah.
They're one of the best live bands out there. Like to this day, still. As old as those guys are, as bad as their knees and backs are, they still just crush it live because they're so fucking tight, super energetic, and just so much fun.
I just hear great things from a music standpoint on
and they're super nice.
Clint from Seven Dust. Like, like Clint is like an unsung genius as far as like having a metal mind and like a vision for like how this is supposed to sound, you know, and all that stuff, and being great at his instrument, but downplaying, which is like
absolutely,
that's such a fucking virtue at this point, and no one has it. Everyone's like, I'm this good, I need to show off every fucking step of the way, or else whatever, I'm gonna hate myself and want to jump off a bridge or whatever. And it's like, who cares, dude? Write a good song, you know?
Yeah.
But also a band that with 40 Below. Do I like this record? The answer is technically no. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably say the same. But I did enjoy it.
I still like it.
So many bands from that era and that second wave of nu metal, way more than 40 Below. And they remind me of a band that did it so much better. I don't know if you're a fan of them, Bill, because we haven't really talked about them much, but Candiria.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude.
I never listened to them that much. Tom used to love that band a lot.
Candiria is fucking awesome.
I never don't like them when I hear it. I'm like, this is the shit. Like, they're so...
Yeah, they're nuts, dude.
Yeah, so they are...
Like, it's a lot of all sorts of stuff going on with that band. That's awesome.
A lot like what 40 Below's doing, but with...
I think it's more focused.
Focused, and the riffage is crazy, and they're doing like off-time shit.
Yeah, they're doing like...
So just imagine what I would say. Like, it sounds a lot like 40 Below, but like torn the fuck up, and the off-time, and the great like jazzy type feel
jazz
drum
sections and shit. It's weird.
And
I know, for sure.
So when I hear 40 Below, I immediately am like, I need to listen to a Candiria record and them get blown out the fucking water by Candiria.
That's interesting. You make that correlate. I could see it now that you're talking about it, but like I never really clicked in my head.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, it's a case where they came from the same
area
city, which is New Jersey.
Yeah.
So
Candiria is a huge New Jersey band.
New York, New Jersey. I mean, obviously,
East Coast.
Anyone who lives in New York also lives in New Jersey, and vice versa. Like, they are always like,
well,
really from Jersey.
Yeah. We just had Rob Wharton on the podcast from Cognitive, who's from Jersey, and like huge Candiria guy, huge. Max and Alex also love Candiria, so that whole tour they were always talking about it. Talking about Candiria and shit.
Dude, it's so funny. Like Bill and I played with Local H over the summer. If you take the band Local H and throw that out to certain areas, everyone's like, yeah, kind of. I remember them. In the Midwest and especially Chicago, it's like they're the band. Like it's just like, dude, they're the shit. Just like if the Texas equivalent of Local H is a band called the Toadies.
Okay, never heard of them.
What? Dude.
Yeah, I've never heard of the Toadies, Bill. How would I know about the Toadies?
They're basically just called Toadies.
Possum Kingdom?
That was their big song.
That
it was
sounds
a huge
like
song.
My backyard, but okay.
Dude, you would know that.
I have a backyard.
You would know that song. If you ever listen to the radio, you would know that song.
Okay, maybe I would if I heard it.
I've
heard Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Yeah, so it was like similar time.
Okay.
But Toadies fucking kick ass, and they did a thing where I've seen Toadies live a couple times. I was always been at the Metro, and it was always very comfortable there.
Okay.
Like, it's just like they're big enough to book it, but like not sell it out. That whole thing, blah 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 blah. I went to a fest out in Texas when I was actually TMing that Between the Buried and Me Atlas Moth run.
Yeah,
and it was at this place called the Bomb Factory in like Dallas.
Sure,
big fucking venue. It's like, I want to say it's Aragon size. And Toadies had just come through there, and Toadies were like the Austin, Texas band.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how many people showed up for Toadies? Couple hundred or whatever. They're like, it was sold out.
Holy shit.
And it's just like, when you're a regional band that everyone's like, that's like a cornerstone band, you fucking rep for that band no matter what.
Okay.
It's like almost like a rite of passage. Like, you have to be a fan of this band. Because it's just like regional, like being a regional band, they still exist.
Sure.
Where it's like certain bands are big in certain areas, and that's fucking it.
It's weird that they have that bubble, because like you were saying with Local H, like to us, it's like, yeah, that's a big band.
Yeah.
But then you go outside of the Midwest, and you're like, I remember
Local
them.
H, yeah.
That's the guys with like kids are all right. Yeah, like, and you're like, fuck. Well, how do you not know? Like, come on, man. Like,
That's it.
I will say, 40 Below Summer record was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun listening to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because I would never listen to it like in a serious sense. Probably it's just not in my wheelhouse like
Totally
that.
fine.
Because it's definitely like over the edge. Like that song, I want to say it's my least favorite song. Because I was just like laughing through most of it. Was that song "Smile Electric"?
No, that's my favorite. It's arguably my favorite song. Yeah,
it's so funny to me because he does all those insane vocal things.
They're all over it.
Yeah, it's just like to me, I'm just like, oh my god, like
a
it's
lot
hard
of
not to
the
laugh.
mic technique of like shaking it.
Yeah.
That's that guy's bread and
It's so
butter.
whatever this is, I don't know. I've been doing vocals for a long time.
Cupping the mic?
I've cupped the mic and I've gotten better at it. Where I started doing this.
Yeah,
And it's my vocals have gotten progressively better because of it. But whatever this was with new metal.
Oh,
it's
the,
like-
the sound
the Danzig.
yeah, dude.
You know, it's like that's what
the
that
Glenn
dude sounds.
Danzig of like doing vocals where he's like singing and it's like, it's
Yeah,
like, dude,
that's some
put
tough
mic in
guy
your
shit,
goddamn
dude.
face,
Yeah.
you idiot.
Dude.
Yeah, just sideways. Yeah, those are
That
those
song
days.
is like so funny to me. It's just like goofy shit.
The song I don't like is Power Tool because it's so like cheesy. The lyrics are so
And
bad.
I feel like the end of the record, like the last few songs are just like kind of it turns into
Kind
more
of-
of like a hard rock type vibe. I feel like.
I like what was the last two songs I liked.
If you listen to anything from the late 90s, early 2000s, and you hear a record that has tracks on it that whoop ass on the back end of it,
Yeah.
last four songs or whatever, you know that band really fucking tried with that record because most of it goes away after the first four or five
that's how I
tracks.
kind of felt with this record.
With like every band
in the middle
and
of
it's just
it.
like the case in point, like that first Limp Bizkit record, $3 Bill, y'all sold like 1 million copies.
Yeah.
And it's a great record, and
but it's front loaded.
it's so front loaded.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
the
what was that track like 12 Leech? That's the
I don't
Oh,
know.
you
I've
like that?
never
All right.
heard that
Well,
album.
But the first half of it is like we're gonna do that soon. I guarantee
Okay.
it.
Yeah. We should just do a Biscuit
Episode?
Dude,
centric
I would love
one,
to.
yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, if Fred Durst would have commented on our shit a week earlier, I would have picked
Switched it up.
$3 Bill, y'all. So we'll see what goes on.
See that, Fred?
But you know what? One thing I will say about this podcast, the New Metal One, literally since the last one aired, people are just coming up to me saying, you need to do this one. Or you need to
Right, a lot of people.
go this route. And it's just like, God bless you for giving me the opinion that you have. But like, ultimately, I'm going to pick what I want to pick. But I will say this, which is, I think everyone's probably stoked that out of left field comes Fear Factory Obsolete because they're probably fans of that record.
Yeah.
But the one that was like universally the suggestion was fucking Sepultura Roots last time. Everyone's like, go do a Roots
Right,
episode.
fuck
yeah.
Fucking Roots. But
We'll
we
do
will
it
eventually do it.
Yeah,
You think
yeah.
so?
I think we will.
I having to talk about new metal.
Okay.
we have to.
Yeah,
at
that's
some
fair.
point.
That is fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, 40 Below, cool band. Remind me of the names like from Zero, like all
Okay.
those.
Oh,
They
yeah.
all have similar
Yeah.
names. I'm trying to think of
Yeah,
other
number
examples.
names, dude.
Yeah,
So
5.0 was another one from
was
Chicago.
this like was this
That's
their
a joy,
big
I think.
jumping point? Was this record? Was this like the
Yeah,
biggest?
I think
leap,
that's
like
what
the big thing for
got
them?
him in the forefront for sure.
Did they like maintain anything after that? Really?
I think the follow up album didn't do as well.
Okay.
There were some good moments on it for sure,
But they just didn't.
I think it was
stay in
that
that big
sophomore
circuit.
slump or whatever. Because they do have the album before this, but that was a self release like.
Yeah, I
type
noticed
thing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they just kind of came and went and disappeared after this album or the second album.
What was your
released.
favorite song on this album?
Um,
Was it "Smile Electric"? Was it "Step Into the Sideshow"? Also a huge
Also a
new metal
jam.
anthem, dude.
this was a tough one because I like the album front to back.
Dude, I love that you love this, Bill. Like, I really do, because like some
did.
records speak to me, and I think I'm brainstorming what my next record's going to be, and no one's going to want to like this record, or I don't even know if I have the balls to bring it up. But I'm already brainstorming.
I
I'm
like
just
that,
like,
yeah.
I gotta like, no one knows this. Some people do. I'm not.
Yeah,
this
I don't
is
know
like
what
a little
I'm gonna do.
fucking
Like
hint.
that.
Maybe I won't
We'll do
even be
it.
alive in 2 months. But if assuming I will, I'll be fucking. But
No, this was a band that I really liked a lot too. That one of my old bands, Breaking Through, our drummer Tony. This was a band that he loved too because we love the drummer in this band. Like I love the drumming
he's
on this
good.
album.
He's good.
It's really good. It's not over the top. It's pretty tasteful where it
Yeah.
needs to be, you know. But it's also got these heavier moments that are. It's just great. Like I love that guy's drumming, so he loved it for that, as well as like the guitars. Like I love the guitars on it. They sound kind of shitty because like me and my buddy always joked, we're like, I think they're out of phase. Like if
Yeah.
you listen to it, it sounds like they're just slightly out of phase. Like whoever I don't know produced it.
all right,
but,
well, I do, and that's an interesting segue. The dude who is, well, first of all, Sean who's Clown from Slipknot has a producing cred on the record. I did look it up.
That's crazy.
And I couldn't.
That's funny. I did not know that.
couldn't. He's probably a guy that's just like,
Probably
hey,
showed
man,
up.
like,
this is sick. Yeah.
Here,
yeah, like,
change
yeah.
this one thing.
And
See you later.
I'm going to collect my check from your record label now. Goodbye.
Anybody see my jumpsuit? Like,
But the main producer, and I couldn't put my finger on who produced until I looked it up, is this guy named Garth.
oh, GGG.
Garth.
Yeah.
His claim to fame.
His name was on everything.
It was.
Metal, wasn't it?
It was not everything new metal. I would say it's like pre-new metal.
Okay.
His big record, which was, I couldn't even stress it as groundbreaking. It's beyond groundbreaking. He did the first Rage Against the Machine record.
Oh, okay. All right.
Really?
And
cool.
The strategy that band implored recording that was, first of all, if you talk to Tom Morello, again, this could be hyperbole, but he said it a bunch of times, which is the majority of that record was recorded live.
Oh, shit.
That makes sense.
That to me is super cool because they sound fucking tight as shit. But it's still like loose enough where like, it's just a rad record and it's extremely groundbreaking. But when it comes, in a lot of ways, it's one of the first new metal records. If not, I wouldn't say it's the first one because I think Faith No More in like '89 did like the first kind of new metal record.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What album?
The Real Thing.
Okay. With Epic?
And it was Mike Patton's first record with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Epic is to me almost like a pseudo new metal song.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
And then you have bands like Body Count come out around that time.
Dude, did you see Danny DeVito was hanging out at the Mr. Bungle show?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's insane. But anyway,
That is
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's very fucking cool. But when it comes down to it, that Rage record was a game changer. First, maybe rap metal record, and then the Korn one that came in '92. The Korn one came out in '94. Garth produced it. He did a couple records that I hold very close to my heart around that time. The main one I'd say was the L7 record called Hungry for Stink. I'm a huge L7 fan. Long story short is Garth doesn't make records that really sound good.
Okay.
All right. And I'll be frank about that because when it comes down to it, compare the way that first Rage record sounds to the way Battle of Los Angeles sounds. The guy who did Battle of Los Angeles is a guy named Brendan O'Brien, who's one of the best producers ever.
Yeah, I've heard that name a lot.
He doesn't even work with like bands anymore. He works with like Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
like
fuck.
that's how he works with entities.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
But he did like STP records. He did the second two, but the Rage records that weren't the first one. He did them all. And like the list goes on from there.
Okay.
Just great fucking bands.
Sure.
I believe he did the second Limp Bizkit record on. So after Ross Robinson did the first one, he did Significant Other. Long story short is he's like a beyond great engineer.
Sure.
And Garth has a distinct sound where it's like almost like a garage-esque recording. And I think as soon as I found out that was the guy who did it, it made perfect sense with the 40 Below record. I was like, it seems like he did it, which is cool because it has charm to it. But it's almost like kind of a low grade, like Ross Robinson type deal.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have the fury that Robinson gets out of his bands, and he has a similar sound quality, which is kind of like it kind of negates it.
Okay.
So I'm not ripping on Garth because he does some great records, and he was great.
I see what you're saying.
He did a thing where in the 90s it was a lot harder to record. So great for music, great for heavy music, but it makes sense that I think that after that, he hasn't really done a lot of records, honestly. I think that 40 Below was kind of where,
they're like, the
writing was on the
out.
Yeah, because like all these newer dudes came and like blew the fucking lid off the jar. It's like, we are going to engineer a totally different way now. That's like, people will tell me every now and again where it's like, Albini, and it's just like I think he's great. He's
done some records I love.
He just did the new Child Bite record, which I think is
really
it's going to be my record. It's going to be my record of the year, basically. It actually came out the end of 2019, so technically it's my favorite record of 2019.
Okay,
but he captures the band like that perfectly. And then there's bands he's worked with where it sounds horrible on both ends.
Really?
Because it's like Albini knows how to record a certain style of band, which is basically like a Jesus Lizard Nirvana type deal.
Okay.
And he'll fucking crush it.
Dude, he did a record by this band I like called Mono from Japan. They're like a post-rock band. He did a couple of their records and I think they sound awesome.
I think that he did some Neurosis records where I was left saying, man, I wish this guy engineered it. And one of the guys, coincidentally, is fucking Reese Fulber, who did Fear Factory. And the band that was he's a cult followed guy, which I mentioned before. One of the bands that he cut his teeth on was a band which is very similar in a lot of ways to Neurosis, probably just as big, Paradise Lost.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So he did some records with them.
No shit.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So
like early records?
No, it was like mid-era.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so I think if...
I like Paradise Lost.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, they're a cool band.
I like Neurosis better, but
Me
if
too.
like they ever fucking got together...
That would be cool.
Like, yeah. But, people are, loyal to their engineers, and like Albini, I just think is, cool. But getting back to it, like Garth is... I'm trying to think what other big records he did around the time, but the L7 one definitely pops in my head for sure. And it sounds pretty bad, but it still rocks.
Yeah, the other thing that was funny about 40 Below, I was such a big fan. I remember when they announced that they were like, we're doing our farewell show. They're a Jersey band. So they're like, we're doing it in Jersey. And
did you go?
No, I regret it though. Me and my drummer were like, let's get some fucking tickets.
Drive
get a plane,
out there or
fly out there.
You can make that drive.
Yeah, either way. But we, at the last minute, backed out, which I do really regret.
Well, now you can see him again, maybe.
Well, I ended up seeing him again when I was working for Nonpoint. They did a show in Belvedere, and 40 Below was on it. I was so
Was it good?
Oh, it was awesome.
That's cool.
It was still good.
Was anyone there? And I'm not doing the Nate joke, but like, what was attendance like?
It was good.
Because you said it was in Belvedere. That's the only red flag I see, which is like, that's a weird
town. Yeah,
but also Belvedere is near Rockford.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rockford has its little built-in crowd for sure.
Rockford is and God bless Rockford, man.
You might be the only person I've ever heard to ever say that entire life.
They still hold their new metal close to their hearts.
Yeah. I think they're far enough away from the city. That's why.
I fucking love that, man.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't like a packed show, but it was well attended.
Awesome.
And it was cool because, like I said, that was a band that I grew up with that I loved a lot, listened to tons, still do listen to. So it was cool to like hang out with them, sit side stage to watch the show. Like it was fun. Like it was just like
that's
one of those
really
moments
badass.
that like I'm grateful that I get to do work with like Nonpoint and Soil, and I get these opportunities to see like a lot of the bands in a way that not a lot of people get to see them. So it's cool for me at least to have that. Something that was just a big moment for me to be
something
like,
that is
below, yes.
You know what you touched upon it, Bill, was something that's the best thing in life is when you think you're in on something that the rest of the world isn't. So like Bill, you could be like, God damn, I'm so fucking stoked to be on side stage for 40 Below, blah, blah, blah. And people on a daily basis will probably like take or leave that. Like, they might be rad, but like whatever.
More leave it than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I would probably leave it. Yeah.
And that's cool because you think that like, it doesn't matter. I love this and I love this band and I love the position I'm in. I'm lucky to be here. But you might be one of like a small fucking group.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
which is rad.
Yeah,
That's what makes
cool,
it fucking cool. You know, their heroes like shouldn't be like fed to us and told us like these are, you have to be, universally loved by everyone.
These are the guys on the front of the magazine, so you gotta like them. And it's like, I'm good.
We're able to pick and choose who we like, which is awesome.
Dude, we gotta talk about this King A10 record.
Yeah, for sure.
Holy shit, man. I'm going to preface this by saying that
This was your pick, by the way.
This was my pick. Yeah,
do you
I
listen
love
to
this
band
record.
normally?
Now I do.
No shit.
Yeah, I think this record is like, I don't even know if I would call it new metal, honestly. I mean, other than
there's some
heavy
definitely
new
metal moments for sure, and vocally too.
I think this record is such an art project, personally. Just like it's insane how much encompasses this record and how that many weird different places they really go.
I have so much to say about this band and this record. That's ridiculous. I'm so glad that you picked this one.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you picked it too, just because like this was a band that, I mean, it's hard not to hear about them. Yeah, because they just blew the fuck up.
They did. Yeah.
Like I know the dudes in Nonpoint all love this band.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing them talking about it all the time.
I used to hate them, but
I avoided them just because I didn't really care for the imagery that went with them, like the tough guy thug shit and all that. But I get because where they come from. But that right away turned me off, and I was like, I'm good, And
it's a heavy part of the band too, is the imagery. And
for sure, and I get that. Like that's most bands, Yeah. And it just like it was something that didn't gel with me, so I was like, I wrote them off, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But I'm glad that you did pick them and gave me a reason to be like, all right, I got to listen to this. And I didn't hate it in any way, shape, or form.
Really? I thought you would fucking, especially the second half of the record.
Second half is not good.
Yeah,
I did not like it.
Like that.
In my head was I appreciate that they tried that. I think that's cool that they were like, oh, we're gonna have like a song where he's like crooning on. Like what?
Yeah.
Like crazy. Like, do they do that on previous albums at all? Like,
not on
is
the
that
first
like a whole
record.
new thing for them? Like,
they have a third record that I haven't. So they jumped out of the gate.
Because I picture them more like the front half of that is like that just super heavy, simplistic guitar and drum, forefront vocals. Like that's what I envisioned.
Like that. That's
was
what
like
they started out as. So King was like a hardcore band, hardcore band when they first started from Michigan, and
they're young too, right?
Yeah, they are young. I know a lot of people that know those dudes personally and know the origins that
they're not far from us.
My good friend Donna from Columbus was born and raised in Flint.
Okay,
and she not only knew those dudes, but her brother was in the band for a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had heard about King. They were called King, by the way.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and just King.
I remember seeing like, you know how like fucking back in the day with message boards and shit. Someone, and they would do like these weird pockets of the United States would have like a fest, like fucking some weird, like there'd be like a hall in like fucking Lakeville that would have like metal fest and all that bullshit. And I saw King on a bill in like a Michigan fest. I was like, what the fuck's this about? And then people started posting like, King's playing this, like RIP Fest or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
And I was like, who's this band? Like, you know, and then I heard that like literally at that fest, like they started like, the singer like got on like part of the stage, started like tearing it down and shit.
Yep.
And like,
dude, there would be riots at their shows.
Yeah, they were
would
infamous.
Get shut down that they would play. I remember I first heard of them because they played a show with the Contortionists. They played the super prog bill, which made no sense to me. They were probably the local opener in Michigan.
Yeah,
but they
that makes
there was a
sense.
huge story on Lambgoat about it, how like the show got shut down because people were showing up with guns, people were starting fights.
That's what turned me off from this band is like that culture that they brought with them, where I'm like, not my thing, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, I couldn't say that's my thing, but it definitely grabbed my attention to be like, what the fuck? And I first heard
like I said, that's why it was hard not to know about
David
that band.
Gunn, the singer. The first time I really I was like, oh, there's this guy again. Remember me and Andy last week mentioned that band and Hell Followed With. They're a deathcore band from Michigan. He did guest vocals on their like Eric Records debut, and it's over this really sick, tough, hardcore like guy part, and that's why I was like, oh, this dude is from that band King, like. So they came out and they did mostly like that, you know, newish new metal style that's still got like the chug influence and shit.
Another thing that popped in my head there, what is that fucking band? You showed them to me. Black Tongue?
Yeah.
It reminds me
Similar.
of a less refined
Black Tongue. Yeah.
Or like Black Tongue is like the more heavy, visceral version of that.
Yeah.
I think like if you remotely like King A10, I think you should. And you like heavy stuff, like go with Black Tongue.
Oh yeah.
That band fucking rules. Like that.
You like them? I didn't know you liked them.
They're on my Spotify, and they for whatever reason have survived. Like every time a song comes on,
every time they're on the chopping block, it's like
I literally
let it roll another week.
I'll put my phone on random, listen to songs, and if there's something in there, I'm like, you know what, I'm over it. I'll take it off. But I hear you hear the riffage
like,
and the heaviness, and I'm like, it's great. I love hearing it. Yeah, I don't know why, but they're cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I see that connection for sure.
Which I think is what made me like King A10 a little bit more.
Cool.
Just having that background with that.
So we're assuming the funny thing about this band, King 810 is the name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
810.
I just picture a gigantic.
That's an area code.
Yeah.
All right, now, so
I picture a massive Ampeg with a little Burger King crown on top of it.
So isn't it funny how how do you say your area code? Just whatever. What's your area code or your area code?
On my phone 708.
Yeah, I'm
all right,
708.
Right.
It used to be 773.
What other options are there?
773-312. Now
630,
847.
847.
Okay, so with none of those, you just rattled off 4 in a row.
Yeah.
You never said, "Oh yeah, I'm area code 847."
No.
Right? So why are we calling them King
810, not 810.
Yeah.
It rolls off the
I don't
tongue
know.
way
King
better.
810.
So
I hear a lot of people call
So is it King 810 or 810?
I hear 810 a lot, and I hear 810.
810
I don't
sounds
know.
good. I like that. But 810.
No, what do you call them?
King 810.
King 810.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying, which is
But
like it's
also,
always been weird to me.
Yeah, not 70. Yeah.
I always called them King 810.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
A lot of people do, though.
All right, so I guess
That's funny. I never even thought about that. I just they're King 810.
Yeah, I used to just think so they got signed to Roadrunner. They put out Memoirs of a Murder is their first record, which is a lot more of, so the song I picked was Alpha and Omega.
Yes.
Like,
which was a running theme throughout this album, it seemed like.
yes. So like that type of song though, like the super heavy, like you could hear that. That's like, I don't want to say radio single because it probably wasn't on the radio, but like the big, like catchy single. Memoirs of a Murder was a lot more like that.
Yep.
Like just the hard
That
hitters.
makes
They have
more
a song
sense,
called
yeah,
Kill
yeah.
'Em All that's really sick on that record.
Or
That's-
War Outside.
yeah.
All right, so I loved. All right, so knowing that Donna and a couple of my friends had mentioned this band a while ago, they were always on my radar.
Sure.
And they came out with that record, the one we're referring to. I forget the name of it.
It's
Memoirs of Murder.
Petite Mort.
No, I'm talking about Memoirs of Murder.
Okay.
That came out, and I was like, "This shit's dope." And I remember distinctly Donna and Ronnie, her boyfriend, came up and we hung out and did a thing where like we hung out over a weekend and we were listening to that record a lot. Like at my house, just hanging out, having a beer or whatever. And then it's a rad record because it's so heavy. And then the themes of it, like here's the thing, all right? Have you ever been to, has anyone here been to Flint, Michigan?
Oh, yeah.
No, never.
I've been a couple times.
Okay, so here's the deal. I've been about twice.
Best club in America is in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, it's called the Machine Shop.
Yeah.
All right, so
Best club, yeah.
anyone who's from Flint, Michigan, watch this right now. God bless you. But when it comes down to it, Flint has, and I'm going to choose my words wisely because I'm not undermining it. Flint has this reputation. It's almost like social fiction, where it's like it's one of these cities that has this sort of reputation that's like over exaggerated.
Sure.
It started with a documentary from Michael Moore back in the early 90s called Roger and Me, which
Yes, I'm familiar.
Michael Moore is from the Flint area.
Okay.
No,
And-
I thought he was from Traverse City.
Well, that's not too far, right?
Traverse City is like the very north of Michigan.
Okay.
And it's probably 45 minutes, maybe to an hour north of Flint.
Okay, so yes, so
Yeah.
it's,
But I'm sure
it's
he is-
striking distance from the Flint area.
Because it is a relatively big city in Michigan, so I imagine he spent time there for sure.
So what happened was that when the documentary came out, it focused on the area of Flint and how destitute it was due to car plants closing down, essentially. And that's where sort of this kind of reputation of Flint began, that it was just like literally one of the worst cities to live in. And then it was further referenced, I believe in, I want to say for a second, Bowling for Columbine, where it was like, he talks about living in Flint and how it's like this is this and this. And it was ranked on some bullshit list, I want to say by Forbes, as like one of the worst places to live.
Yeah.
Okay. No offense. If you go to the south side of Chicago, I'm not talking about Bridgeport. I'm not talking about Pilsen. I'm talking about like
South side.
south side.
Yeah.
It is way worse than Flint.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like Flint has this reputation, kind of like if I were to say to you right now, like Roswell, New Mexico,
Yeah.
you're immediately thinking aliens.
Yeah.
When it's like, it's just like
A town.
Any
a
other
town,
town,
dude.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like that reputation follows it.
Yeah.
Now, all that said, recently, 2014 or whatever, Flint lived up to its reputation again because they're still going through it. They have a water
The
crisis.
water crisis.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
And Flint still doesn't have 100% clean water. It's like about at a 90%. And I think finally they're estimating by 2020 or summer 2020, it's finally going to be all 100% set. But until
Yeah.
then, people still have fucking lead in their water, which is like
Yeah.
unheard of. That's like primitive times.
In this era.
In this era, it's like insane.
crazy.
Yeah. So when it comes down to it, I get it that every time it's like they're moving away from that, they get pulled back into it.
Yeah. Well, that's a big part of the band's image. Is
No, so
Flint.
this
That's
is
the
where-
whole
Yeah, yeah.
driving force.
This is how King was able to kind of like be labeled this like legit being right from the jump.
Yeah.
Because I don't know of another band, and if they do, they don't flaunt it, that says they're from Flint.
Yeah. True. I don't know.
It's a
They
tough sell.
they exploit it.
Yeah.
Or and I mean that in the nicest way possible, but they're like, we're Flint to the fucking bone.
Yeah. They are.
And that is what it is. Now, I know a little bit of the inside track, knowing a bunch of people who know these dudes, all due respect to them. They're pretty much like upper middle class dudes,
Yes.
other than the singer,
Yeah.
who actually had like the life he describes in,
Yeah.
in the songs, you know? Now,
He wrote a book too.
he's a dude who's, I find, pretty fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
He reminds
me
me
too.
of like, he reminds me of like a Corey Taylor.
Definitely.
And then
definitely.
him and Corey have had this is what's funny about it though. Him and Corey had very similar upbringings, where Corey comes from dirt poor
Yeah.
and he ended up blossoming. He's like rose that grew through concrete or whatever.
Yep.
And I argue they have very similar lives, other than this kid was raised in like the 90s and Corey was raised in like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And gang culture, even I'm sure it exists in Iowa right now, like wasn't a thing in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then 90s gang culture was everything.
Huge. Yeah.
So when, it's like, that's how the life he had to live out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though they came from the same poor background. My problem with King was from the jump, you do a thing where you hear this story and you're like, I believe this 100%. I believe this is real. And then the whole album, no matter what they do, unfolds with him constantly reiterating how real it is.
Yeah.
And how one of his fucking things is always, no one knows what it's like to fucking shoot someone or but me, basically. Mm-hmm. It's like, eventually it sounds cool the first couple times you hear it. When you're on the 5th track and he's mentioning it,
still
you're
talking
like,
about it. Yeah, it's a little tired. Yeah.
And then if I'm not mistaken, I didn't hear this from anyone who knows him, but from what I've read, he unfortunately was in like a life or death murder situation, had to kill someone.
Yeah.
Which is a fucking nightmare, I bet.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, like, he's obviously not in prison because it was like a fucking fight or flight type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, where it's like, that's the breaks with that.
Yeah. I mean,
which is sad, but like he does come from a real place.
Exactly.
And then the number one thing with this record is I love their first one to some degree, which is they had like the song Fat Around the Heart is great.
Awesome song.
War Outside's awesome. Kill 'Em All's fucking badass.
Yeah,
and it's
dude.
just like these bangers. And then I remember being in a place where I'm like, this band's pretty fucking hot.
Yeah.
And I think that they're about to like really blow the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then the first track from this record came out, which is Alpha and Omega. And I listened to it and I was like, they're going to do it. Like this song is insane. The video that came out was like
insane. Yeah.
Crazy as fuck. It's like them at like, it's like a Last Supper type vibe.
Yeah.
With them with like friends from like fucking Flint and like, face tattooed dudes.
Ski mask guys, guns.
And like we're talking about like real face tattoo dudes, not I'm in a punk rock band in Chicago. But when it comes down to it, like these are like gangsters, and they're wearing fucking South Pole jackets, and they're wearing fucking hats that say Flint on it, and that's real as fuck, that video. And
it is. I saw it. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is like intense.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and I was like, this song is like, it makes you want to punch the shit out of somebody, dude. It's so heavy. And it's just like, I couldn't deny that it wasn't good. I didn't tell anybody I thought it was good, but I couldn't deny it. I didn't really. So I used to hate this band too. When Midwest, or not, I keep saying Midwest Monsters because that was like an EP they did. But when Memoirs of a Murder came out, didn't give a shit. Thought it was stupid, wrote it off. Like I was too busy in my world of Deeds of Flesh and Disgorge and shit.
Fair enough.
Which I'm still in. But like, what the kicker for me with this band was Rivers of Nile. Brody, a good friend of mine who's been on the podcast, one time was like, dude, have you ever listened to this band? And I'm like, yeah, they're fucking lame, whatever. And he was like, no, dude, you have to check out this record, which was a conversation with God. He was like, you will not expect half the shit that's on this album. And like me and him bond together a lot over very like experimental music and stuff. And you have songs on this record that are bangers. You have Alpha and Omega. You have like that song Wartime with Trick on it, which is
that was my favorite song.
Dude, that song is tough.
When that dude comes in, it's the shit.
Trick's like he's a Michigan dude.
He is a Michigan dude. They always have Michigan rappers.
He was on some Eminem records and stuff. And like
for a split second, I was like, is this the fucking dude from Head PE? For like a split second, I was like, hell yeah. And then I was like, oh no,
they wouldn't fuck with
just a little bit different. I was like,
but dude, it's just he's so tough. It just sounds like the most pissed off, scared shit in the world.
Love it when he comes in. And the production on his vocals are great.
That is a great song, and that will carry the second half of the record. Which, other than that, is pretty not good.
Yeah, I know. I knew you guys would say that.
That
I love it though.
Was it
Me and Maxine?
Me and Maxine. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a rough one, but I like it.
I like that they tried it.
Yeah,
I do like that. But man, I was like, because like most of the time when I'm listening to these, I'm usually playing a video game and having it on.
Okay.
And it's great. It's a great way to do it because
I'm not paying attention. I'm playing a video.
It's not that I'm not paying attention, but it certain things catch my ear.
Yeah, you're
a lot
passive
more.
and actively listening.
Exactly.
So.
Whether it's good or bad, my ear will turn. I'll be like, "What the fuck's going on?" Pause the game. Give it a second. And that was like one of those a lot on that song. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
a good song.
I was like, nope, I'm out.
There was what's the song? Vendettas. I think that's a killer song.
That's another good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like they come up with these, like, he does it so, like, there's a lyric in that song. It's like, if you've ever, like, can I get a show of hands if you've ever killed a man or something? It's a rhyme, and it's like, it plays into his whole thing that he just overstates, but it's just like, damn it, dude. That line is like kind of sick, and it's kind of catchy as fuck, and like, you did it, dude. You just made like a sick ass catchy song with like you singing about the shit that you always sing about, and it's just like,
go on.
I would say, because I have a hard time picking my favorite songs on this record because I really like the title track songs, Le Petite Mort, and I like A Conversation with God because they're almost just spoken word pieces. They're spoken word, like almost like it feels like I'm reading a poem or like listening to a dude read a poem. I love that shit. I mean, I'm a sucker for like super artistic bullshit that like a lot of people might find pretentious or just cheesy and lame. But like those songs and like the shit he's talking about is just so like intense to me. And it's like, I mean, think about a band like that would write a song like Alpha and Omega. I would never expect them to write something like that. I would never expect to hear something like that on a record. It's almost like the second half of that record, and I don't know if you're familiar or if you are, but the band Ulver, it reminds me almost of like an Ulver record musically, where it's just like the super sparse, weird production on songs. It's like super experimental. And then that's half the reason why I love this record so much.
Heavy reverb.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit like that. Weird sounds and stuff. Funny. I don't know. I love this album. And like, it took me a while to get over the cheesy factor of like, all right, I know what this dude's about, but it's like, he's doing it, man. He's like all in.
Speaking of the lyrics, there's one lyric that cracked me up, which was Jesus on the T. I love that line.
Christ crucified on the T.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Tough, dude.
I just think it's great. So funny that
that's not even funny. That's a great fucking lyric.
It is a great fucking lyric.
I mean, like, I'm laughing about it, but it's memorable.
Dude,
that's just like I'm talking about
that
it.
Chorus,
you know?
Alpha and Omega, just sounds like this dude is about to kill me. That's literally what it sounds like.
That song is like next level hard.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking after I heard. All right, so the first time I heard that song was like I was thinking about King A10 a lot in my everyday life, and I'm like, they're maybe about to fucking blow up and change the fucking game, because I will never underestimate bands that have loyal fan bases. And not big fan bases loyal. And it looked like people kept saying like there's like essentially a gang around this band. And I was comparing it to certain other bands that had similar things, or like compare them to like Michigan's a different breed, man, and a good breed. Like I'm the biggest ICP dude, but I'm actually not, because I'm like a millionth down the trough. That's how big their fans are.
Yeah.
So, like, that's how fucking loyal they are.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you have a loyal fan base, you could have a fraction of a bigger fan base. But if they're loyal, they're going to follow you no matter what.
Yeah.
So I love that. So, like, I was like, this band's about to explode, and this band's hard as shit. And then they come out with Alpha and Omega. I'm like, they took hard to a new fucking level.
Yeah.
And then, like, whatever the first line is, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the truth. It's like, that's pretty fucking hard, dude.
Yeah.
Now, the problem I have with King 810 or 810 is several. One, they don't really have riffs. It's more, more like, but pulling off, like,
I think that's the new
like,
metal.
Like the quickness of that, or even slower, like,
dude, I love that shit.
But
like, that's not even a riff.
That's the new metal aspect of it for sure, is that simplistic riffage, you know?
And there's a couple riffs in their songs, but I noticed that too, where I'm like, man, there's not really, like the end of Wartime, like there's like a sick riff there, and like kind of like a feel with the drums and the guitars and shit, but I'm like, man, it's weird how they structure their songs in a way where that's not really like the prevalent part. I mean, it's like what's the guy's name? David Gunn. It's like the David Gunn show. This band.
Well,
you know what I mean? Intended.
It's definitely
the Gunn show.
It's definitely like a hip hop.
Exactly.
It's like a rap.
I was telling Alex the other day, I was like, if this was a hip hop record and somebody was just singing the same shit, it would be so fucking huge. It would be huge, dude. Maybe.
I think so. Yeah. If you changed around, like instead of guitars doing more of like whatever kind of a synthy thing to it, drums make it more robotic, and keep the dude's lyrics and vocals pretty much the same, you'd be like, yeah, this is a killer hip hop album. You know?
I love how all their guests are always hip hop dudes too. They don't get any fucking metal guys. And I'm like, this is so sick, dude.
I know, and they could easily get metal dudes.
Yeah, easily. Tons.
Like Corey Taylor or something, but they don't like, no.
And then hip hop guy.
The drummer Andrew Workman, I know his name because
it's a great name.
Yeah, that's that is. When you have like that, I used to jam with Phil Hardman.
Okay.
When you have that drummer name, dude,
great name.
long story short is Andrew Workman has trademark Phil, which is almost on all their songs, which is yeah. And he just nails that fucking Phil like it's his job.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I will always give him props for that. And he's out of the band now at this point. I think they only have 2 original members.
Yeah, it's David Gunn and somebody else. Yeah, so they kind of had a weird turn. They like
are they like how do they tour a lot or
not
what?
anymore.
Not
they
anymore.
don't
Okay,
really
so
tour.
they actually are coming to Chicago.
Are they?
Now here's
Have
the deal.
they been to Chicago before?
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
so that's what's weird about this band, which is almost like they had a show booked. All right, they toured with Slipknot and fucking Korn.
Yes,
I missed
do remember that.
Fun little tidbit about that. One day, Roman Ring had practice at the Music Garage. We roll up. There's a huge King 810 bus parked right on that fucking side street there, taking up all the parking spots and shit. They were in one of the hourly rooms rehearsing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wish we can go back in time and be like, "What's up?"
Yeah, I just see this huge
King.
bus. I didn't see any of the dudes. I just saw their huge ass bus
we
there.
knew they were in
and
the
we were all
building.
just bitching about the parking.
And then
that's per usual.
so I missed them on that run, and then that's the year this record came out or whatever, or was about to come out, and they booked a show at Thalia Hall
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
that got canceled.
Yeah.
Because
they were gonna play Talia Hall.
Yeah, because-
it got canceled because of the gang violence shit,
Yeah,
right?
because there was
that
gang
makes
violence.
so much sense.
Yes.
Like, I'm shocked that they would even.
So I don't think they've
That would
been.
have been sick
have
if they
show
did
there.
play that.
I don't think
It
they've
would
been to
have been way out of
Chicago
left field.
since. But now they've lost a lot of momentum because you have to play shows.
Yeah.
And then
that's
also-
why, like, I was like, this band is massive. I've heard the name millions of times from so many different people, but I don't.
Everybody's
see,
got something to say about it.
right, good or bad. Everybody has something to say, but I don't see many flyers. You know what I'm saying? Like King A10 coming to town. Like I don't.
No.
And it's not that I'm.
It's almost
I
like
think if
they're-
a band's big enough, I should be running into them.
I
And
know.
I feel like I never do.
You're right. And
You
like
know?
when you would like compare them to ICP, another band from Michigan, you couldn't escape a clown face.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when we were growing up. And it's
Absolutely.
like that was the shit. King A10 is coming through Bottom Lounge.
Really?
And they are opening
That's a good
their
venue for
direct
them.
support for a band called, you know that band Combat Christ?
Yeah.
Combat Christ?
Combi Christ.
Combat Christ.
They're
yeah.
playing with them?
Yes. They're on that tour.
My buddy Luke, who is a tech in from England, is like their go-to tech.
Cool.
Which is cool, but
That's
like,
awesome.
isn't King A10 like big enough to headline Bottom Lounge by themselves?
They should be.
They should be because they got.
But isn't Combi
pushed to
Christ
the-
pretty? I know they're
They
big
are.
over at least overseas.
No,
they're
they are
pretty
big, and like I'm sure that show's gonna be packed. But
Yeah,
like
but
my
King
rebuttal
A10
is like
probably-
they got pushed to the moon, dude. King A10, like they had owned like a year of like heavy metal, where it was like they were the hot button up and coming band because they were so dangerous, real,
Right.
You know. And I hate to say again, going back to the Flint water crisis, but it worked.
It worked
kind of
in their favor.
In their favor
Yeah,
because they were
absolutely.
like the Flint band, and like this is how fucked up it is.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah,
For
you
us to go
you
through a national
understand
health
why
crisis
why
of
that guy's
bullshit.
so pissed.
Yeah, dude.
He does
You
the
know.
thing where, which is, dude, there's easy tricks to sound more pissed when you're doing vocals. One of them is doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
He
of-
sucks
a
in
lot of the
between every
breathing.
lyric. And it's like, we know you're hard, dude, but most vocalists don't do that. But when you want to do that whole thing, that's the easy trick. It's almost
Yeah.
like you're clenching
the
a
imagery
fist.
of it. Yeah.
No, I mean, like it's sonically, though. It's
Right,
like
yeah.
you're hearing someone suck in. It's almost like you're hearing someone going like this.
Yeah.
And the one problem he has is great lyricist, great poet, has a lot of hard lines. He's become a one-trick pony.
Yeah,
Where it's
totally.
like if he did like a Corey Taylor thing where it was like he looks at his situation and makes it more of like a psychological battle,
Yes. Yeah.
dude, his band would be monstrous.
Yeah.
Because it would like, and you could still have like I came from ruin type songs.
Yep.
But you'd be so versatile. My favorites. All right, so "Mean Maxine" is my least favorite song on the record,
Okay.
and I'll tell you why. Because it's an automatic fail,
Yeah.
even though it's supposed to be an automatic A+.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I love. There's a lot of things I love about it. As a lyric writer, I love titles that are purposely grammatical errors. Like "Me and Maxine" it's supposed to be Maxine and I.
Yeah.
First of all, but it stresses the.
Here, keep talking. Give me 1 second. I gotta give something to Eddie.
Okay. Should we wait?
No. Keep going. You're fine.
What are you giving him?
Well, so what were you saying about me and Maxine?
No, because he's gonna want to get.
Oh, okay. Okay.
America runs on Duncan.
Yeah, it does.
I kind of want to taste Bill's coffee right now.
Do it, man. He won't care if there's any in there. What's the verdict? Shit.
No, it tastes so fucking good.
Really?
Yeah. When I've been like exclusively drinking black coffee for like 2 years now.
Oh, hell yeah.
No like creamers.
No
like I
sugar,
used to
no
be
cream.
so into flavored creamer.
I am too.
So
Now,
good.
yeah.
And then I just got it out of my mix and then did a thing where now like every time I get a hint of it, I'm like, oh.
Ugh, yeah.
But
You
I
like it?
No, I love it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's like, that little rush from it. But I guess let's just keep talking about this. I'm really pissed that Bill's not in the room for this. The song Me and Maxine, to me, which is awesome, is he's in a situation where if you ever like talk to people who are from like lower income areas, they're always dating some bitch who has a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And that's what the song's about. Like he's talking about side dating a chick.
Yeah, exactly.
They all do it.
Yeah.
And they all probably have girlfriends too who are dating some other dude on the side.
Yeah.
Like it's just this weird shit. And then eventually someone gets knocked up and it's fucking all hell breaks. So it should be an automatic A+, but what negates it and gives it an automatic fail is the fact that it's literally the vocal pattern, which I picked out in about 30 seconds from the song from The Little Mermaid, Under the Sea.
Yeah, I kind of hear that. It's the same thing.
It's the same fucking thing.
God damn. Oh, man. Now I'm going to listen to that and not be able to not think
Sorry.
of it. Yeah.
And I was saving that for fucking Bill, and he'll never know it now. Let's just keep it from him, actually, because he's going to have that song ruined, and I'm sure he'll play it for the rest of his fucking life.
Yeah, he already hates it. So.
But when it comes down to it, as soon as I pick that out, if I pick it out without trying, it's an automatic failure.
Yeah.
And I've done that for certain songs, unless he's trying to do it to do it sarcastically.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking a Disney melody and making it my own. He's not. I think he just kind of ripped it off, and I think it's going over people's heads.
Yeah,
but
it went over
I just
my head.
Blew the lid off it. The title track had a video for it, which was released by Pornhub.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's basically a footage of an orgy.
Yeah.
It's artistic, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And the title track is arguably the hardest track on the record.
Yeah,
because it's
I
basically
agree.
poetic. Him just like talking about his childhood and all this shit.
Yeah.
And he has that one line, which is probably my favorite one, which is like, I'm paraphrasing, where he says something to the effect of, none of us had fathers. Well, we didn't have fathers. We didn't exactly have fathers. They were called mothers.
Yeah.
And then he talks about basically being raised by a single parent.
Yeah.
And how none of the people from this area had fathers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, that's a hard line. It's very true, I'm assuming, and like, it goes from there, but you won't get a shortage of a hard line from that dude, you know. But it's just like the one trick pony thing is what ultimately shoots him in the fucking foot. And the second half of the record, there's a song like that. The second half of the first record is actually way stronger, and one of the best songs that they've ever done is a song called "Write About Us" on the first record.
Yeah,
and he talks about this is why there's so much untapped potential, which we're never going to see from that band. He talks about literally like, when you're in a case where, and I guess it's just exponentially better, where it's like everyone tries to make something of their lives when you're growing up, but only certain people actually do it.
Yeah.
Like we all grew up with people who were like a million guitarists, and then now it's just like, I haven't picked up a guitar in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, we're still kind of doing it. This guy talks about all his friends who like literally were just wrapped up in this impoverished environment, and then them relaying messages to this dude who was going to get out, saying like, you need to write about us. And the song is just him name dropping and saying what they're doing right now. And it's all more horrifying than the next.
Yeah.
Like some people are dead, some people are in jail, this, and this. And it's like the best song they've ever done. It's really a great song.
Damn, I'll have to check it out. I have
Such
to
a
listen
good
to that
song.
first record front to back still. I'm going to.
And I really, really always get off when vocalists name names in songs.
Yeah.
Even if it's fake, I just like
It's
it.
still tough,
It's so rare.
Yeah.
So yeah, but just the second that I wish, and that record sounds so great.
Yeah. Yes, it does sound great.
It sounds fucking monstrous and mad.
Yeah, the production's spot on.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the album. It took me a while to really let it click, but once I kind of like let it in, it was just like, holy shit, this is like some genius shit. I mean, unfortunately, the band is not on Roadrunner Records anymore. That was their last album, A Conversation with God. Yeah, they came out with a third record, I want to say last year.
I think it was called Suicide King.
Yeah, and I never heard it. I maybe heard a single and was just kind of like in passing, but that original drummer and guitar player that were on the first 2 records are not in the band anymore.
Yeah.
It's David Gunn and like I think one other member from then and maybe some fill-in guys.
Is that what kind of threw off the momentum?
I think something.
And not playing shows. Like if you
Yeah.
play Chicago and you have a show booked where hundreds of people would have come and then he gets canceled, you better have a backup plan.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I'm
true.
saying?
Yeah.
But like the danger ate them.
Well, people were
You know,
also
it's-
saying like they're banned from Chicago. That was like a big thing. Like people were saying when that went down, people were saying like, oh yeah, they're banned from Chicago. I mean, I remember hearing that all the time. Like, yeah, they can never play here, blah, blah, blah.
bullshit.
Like, I don't know. It sucks though, because they were really doing some, I feel like they were one of those bands that did something original and like just fucking ran with it. Like, yeah, it was a one-trick pony thing, doing the whole violence gang thing. We have dudes on stage with guns.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that's
I
taking
mean?
it a little too far.
It's just
it's
Hey,
not
man,
even.
production's production.
Dude,
Whether it's a scrim or a dude with a gun, it's production.
I mean, I
man.
think everybody heard about that and was like, whoa. You know what I mean? It still made you say something.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean,
like-
that's art, right?
It is art, and it's hard to
getting a
do that
reaction.
now. It's hard to get reactions like that now, I feel like.
This is keep
I
in
think
mind.
it's hard to get a reaction like that unless you do something so extreme.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't want to do, which I understand because there's a level of playing safe that you have to do.
Yeah.
Because with this era of internet, once it's out there, and you're going to be associated with whatever that thing is, So you got to be ready that if you're going to take that gimmick, if you will, whatever it is, you got to be ready to run with it and keep going with it because that's going to be you,
Dude. And just the single fucking part in Alpha and Omega before the chorus hits and he says bitch, it's just like,
Yeah, that's fucking
oh
hard
my
as
God,
fuck.
dude.
I
Yeah.
love that shit.
I love it too. It's so tough. It's just like, oh fuck, man.
No, I was trying to think of a harder record or song leading up to this podcast, and I can't. I mean,
It's hard.
like,
That's like a metal record at all. Like, I mean, maybe some like hip hop I could maybe think of, but it's still not the same.
it's not the same.
No.
It's not like
Yeah, you're
it's
not
just-
getting like an 8-string guitar or whatever the fuck they're playing.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
It's basically like here, like I guess Pantera did some shit that was hard back in the day, and like it's still hard as fuck when it's like
Sure.
stronger than all.
Yeah.
but like it's different type hard. Like
Exactly.
this is just like hard.
It's like redneck trailer park hard, dude. It's not like Flint, Michigan. Well,
Yeah.
Flint, Michigan trailer park hard.
But it's like Pantera had like a partying and like dominance and happy about it angle. This
Yeah.
is just dark,
Just
not
pissed.
dominance. Like
yeah, just sad. And
you're
fucking,
sad.
you're
Pissed
done,
off.
dude. Like it's
Yeah.
just fucking, and you have no idea. And the funny thing was, around this time, we forget about, and this is really the sad part, is this time when King was gonna be the next big thing. There were fucking not only mass shootings, there were mass shootings at concerts.
Yeah.
Like remember particularly.
Eagles of Death Metal
That
shit.
was it, man.
Yep.
Like I mean, it's
yeah.
like when people literally go there with, whatever they use, assault rifles or AKs or whatever, and light up a place. Why would you bring even a prop one to a fucking show to put on stage? And from what I was hearing, they weren't really props. They were like real guns
Real
that were
guns,
just
yes.
like
Jesus.
not loaded. Like
Yeah.
that's like, which is fine.
Yeah,
like
but
for
they
it
were
not
real
to be loaded,
guns.
but like this is fucking crazy, and we don't
It
need
is crazy.
that. You know?
I respect
It's
that they
a-
did it though. I respect that they were just like, fuck it, we're doing this. This is our image, and like,
I will give it to the band that
Yeah.
they go all the way in.
I don't know
which
if
is
I would
great.
do that, but you know,
Fuck no.
Yeah, it's just like,
But I do appreciate that level of just
hell yeah.
they're-
I'm glad this
they
went
dove
over
right in.
way better than the Sworn In record did last time. so.
Yeah. Yeah.
King A10's legacy will be they at least will have a reaction from everyone that they touch.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad. Because it's like,
Absolutely.
it's so over the fucking top. You
Yeah.
cannot not react to it. you know?
Exactly. They're awesome.
Like I said, it made it in my fucking bubble.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to do a thing where like I have some ties to Bottom Lounge. If I'm in the neighborhood, I'm going to swing by and try to catch their set.
Yeah, I might
and see
too.
what's going on with it.
I'm
And
a little curious myself too, just to see the spectacle of this band. And
I hope they write the shit, but like the best thing, what this band really could have done is be more versatile with the lyrics, still kept a hard
True.
persona, and then done a thing where literally if they would have turned it around and been like, we're combating the gangster, like it has to end with us because we have all this power to fucking do it.
I do like that angle.
That could have been interesting as well. Positivity doesn't sell, but it sells better now than it ever has.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
very true.
Yeah.
Because like in the
'Cause-
90s, it was like if you were positive about anything, be like, fuck you. Yeah. You don't fucking smoke weed. You don't sell crap. Yeah. We hate you.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. Like anything positive in the 90s wasn't selling.
Oh, for sure.
Now it's a little different.
Which is why most of those guys are all dead from some sort of overdose.
Or they're fucking filthy millionaires, right, like filthy rich millionaires that have mansions in gated communities. And it's like, you were really
Mr. Hard as fuck, huh? Yeah.
Well, the thing about, I mean, even the music aspect about King A10, you could tell they come from like the area where like they listen to bands like Meshuggah, and they might have listened to bands like After the Burial,
Fear Factory.
Like, definitely an influence there, you know. And it's like they do like the weird syncopated drum shit like in the choruses. It feels almost like a hip hop production with like dropped G tuned guitars or some shit. And
well, the way the writing is set up too, you know, it's like there's very like a lot of riffs that just are used over and over and over again, like motos in the music. Just like hip hop, you know, and that's what's interesting about it for sure.
But I would agree with the lyrics. It's like the one shot I felt that was different was the Me and Maxine song, and it's just about, you know, scummy dude being a scummy ass dude with women.
It was nice to hear a departure from what he normally sings.
But it's cool. It's like,
I burst the bubble, dude. I told him that it's the same exact vocal styling of the song Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, the chorus is the same pattern and like the same cadence.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Check it out.
Yeah. It's nuts.
What?
Yeah.
How did you?
I picked it out right away organically because I have like a vast, like I just remember songs pretty okay.
Yeah.
And like immediately I was like, that's it, man.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with that, but that's awesome.
So that sucks, man. That's an automatic fail for me for that song. But still, but I was telling Jason, I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
Which is like.
Do you think that was a purposeful?
That's the thing. I think it's so blatant it should be, but I think it has gone over everyone's head.
Yeah, it went over my head. I never realized.
Yeah.
I
I mean, like
you didn't.
Yeah. You think that guy's like too tough to admit something like that?
No. I mean, I think he just doesn't want to be like a completely ripped off, you know, a song in general. You know, because no artist wants to be like.
Well, there's the thing where
no, it's not necessarily ripping off if it's like not necessarily an homage, but like an influence.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is this, which is on the first "Something Is Waiting" song on the new record, Vintage New Rock Band. There's a riff that is very similar to a Butthole Surfers riff. And then in the song, I say, you stole that riff right from Butthole Surfers. And then Grossman was, I think, like, why that? I'm just like, because that's me referencing Butthole Surfers and the riffs being similar.
Yeah.
It's not like you could play the two back to back and you'd be like, there's differences to it, but it's similar enough.
Just enough.
So he should have referenced the Little Mermaid thing, and then it all would have been forgiven with me. I'd be like, that is so kick ass.
Sorry, good.
Yeah, but no, I think he tried to.
Shit.
Yeah. Or he might even not even fucking know it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's possible.
And then that would really make me sad because it's like, dude, come on. It's your song. You don't know that fucking you took it from Little Mermaid.
Shame on that producer for not.
Yeah, it's. I love the record though. I think it's really cool, and like I finally kind of understand it now. Because I mean, I thought when Brody and Biggs from Rivers were jocking it, it was like everybody was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys? How do you like this record?" You know what I mean? It's like in the death metal community, that shit is like
their background. I can understand
it's just like,
why people.
Dude, and I will tell death metal dudes like, I love this record. You know what I mean? But they'll be like, "Oh, whatever." But it's like
you're gonna catch that.
Yeah, but
I mean, you're gonna get that with any big band.
I think it's like I just think it's super sick. It's overlooked. I totally overlooked it when it came out, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm a fan. Definitely.
I think it's like the first and maybe last ever like gangsta nu metal record.
Yeah, it might be.
You know? I mean, anything King does.
Yeah.
But like when you were like a rap metal band back in the day, you didn't rap about anything gangsta. It was all like skateboarding and bullshit and hanging out with being bored and shit.
Or big party.
Like what, you know, that's right. Or like just nonsensical gibberish, like what Corey Taylor raps about and spitting out. But this is real life gangsta shit, you know, in a metal package.
Yeah, definitely true.
Which is pretty great.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on that one.
It was good. Yeah, that was. Yeah, it was interesting. I'm glad you picked it though.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
I'm super glad you picked it because I haven't thought about it, and like I avoided that band for like a year and a half. Yeah, because that next record that came out is kind of a train wreck compared to the first two.
Suicide King.
Yeah, it's just not as good. And I think they lost a bunch of members, and I was missing my. That Phil's gone forever, man. But like that Phil is so good.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Write him a letter.
Sweet. Well, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's going to stay in my rotation, but I did enjoy it.
That's cool.
You know?
Yeah.
Which more than I expected for sure.
Good. Yeah.
like I said, going into it was more the imagery that I didn't like, so I wrote off the music. And And I remember rumblings of like some music,
you know what I mean?
Videos. Yeah.
It's such a big part of that band. It's hard to not like. It's hard to get past initially. That's what it was for me too.
A lot of bands for sure. Yeah, but it was cool. It was fun to listen to. And
yeah, he's got a book, David Gunn. I believe it's called The Trauma Model, which is the name of one of the songs. Another good ass song on that record, where it's just like shunt. Like that feel is so just like, oh, that's so good.
My favorite song on the record is, I want to say it's track 3, which is Give My People Back.
Yeah, that's really good too.
Like that was really fucking good.
Those two songs, when I heard, there's like, the first song is essentially like a little bit of an intro.
Yeah.
Ushers everything in. It's more like a spoken word mix with like kind of a riff.
Yeah.
Then they go into Alpha and Omega, and then that song. And then if you're listening to that record for the first time, you're like, it's fucking on.
Yeah.
Like those two songs are like two of the best songs they've ever done.
Yep.
And they're like, everything is airless.
Yeah.
And then it starts to go sideways a little bit.
Yeah.
It starts to be regurgitated. They get some of it back, and then, ultimately they lost it.
See, I just love the pacing of the record. I love the fact that like it starts off this hard ass heavy record, and then it just does a complete 180 on the second half. It's just all these weird ambient sounds and like vocal passages and shit. I love shit like that. I'm a sucker for it. I feel like if this record wasn't like that, I might not appreciate it as much, because to me it makes those songs like Wartime and Give My People Back and
like that much heavier.
Yeah, it just makes it so it like emphasizes it more.
Do you think the album would have benefited if they peppered those in more than instead of loading it in the back half?
You know what? I don't know.
Or do you think that would have thrown things off?
I think maybe, I don't know. I don't know enough about the selling point to like really understand. And I don't really know, like, I don't have many friends that like King A10 like them back in the day even, you know, like, I don't know any guys that were like, yeah, first record's good, second record sucks. Like, I don't know any guys like that. So it's hard for me to get a read
Next
on
time
that.
you're in Michigan.
Yeah, maybe. But dude, everybody I know in Michigan is like, oh, that band's fake. They're all
what
fake.
What about
dudes.
Mike?
Like,
Mikey?
Yeah, he's one of the guys.
He's one of the guys that
he gave me a whole
King
dissertation
A10, look
about
for
those
Mikey.
dudes.
He did what?
He thinks you're fake.
He's given me a whole. I'm not going to get into it.
I just called out Mikey.
Yeah.
So King A10's looking for Mikey now.
He went on a whole dissertation to me about that band.
Really?
Yeah, a long time ago. But it was a really interesting conversation because he knows a lot of those dudes.
I'm sure he does.
Because he's played in bands with some of those dudes.
That's
funny. Yeah, so. You know, I've heard many bits and pieces, but I don't know. You know, it's like they're probably one of those bands where it's like, if people are saying shit about them, I don't know if it's real or not. You know what I mean?
Well, it's one of those things where you get so big that there's stories that just come out whether they're true or not, and it becomes this urban legend, and it gets bigger than the actual story is, which is a good thing. That's good.
Yeah.
It means like they're making an impact in some way, and they're still staying relevant, whether, like I said, whether it's true or not. But
I think it's case in point. It's like this again. I've heard from multiple people. The singer's life's legit, and David Gunn had a hard upbringing. The rest of the dudes no.
Yeah, exactly.
But it passes because he's essentially the MC of that band, and they're his backing band.
Yeah, his minions.
So it's like when it comes down to it,
said it's what's his name?
The David Gunn
show. Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's like a flex for that dude, the whole thing, which is cool. I mean,
and he's got the look too, because he's like cut to shit, like ready to fucking. He's like made out, chiseled out of fucking rock.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
dude. Have you seen the Alpha? Oh, you gotta watch that music video.
I picture him. I picture him as like a Machine Gun Ellie-esque, like very scrawny.
Oh, dude,
like,
no. Like he is like, he has blonde hair like Machine Gun Kelly,
but he's a big fucking dude.
Built, tats.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Shirt always off, just fucking like owning.
Who's bigger, him or the vocalist of is it Weekend Nachos? Harm's Way.
They're about equal size.
He's just like covered in dirt or something. Yeah, but he's like tough as fuck, dude.
Really?
Yeah, he's like. That's awesome. He does remind me of the dude from Harm's Way.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So wait, who's bigger, him or Harm's Way?
They're about equal size.
Probably equal.
Really?
Yeah, both scary, like they could murder me type, yeah.
Like they'll just stomp you into like non-existence.
Well, you know, the funny thing is the best fighters are the craziest fighters. So I've seen scrawny dudes take down motherfuckers who are just because they're fucking crazy.
What it comes down to, and we always joke about this, is who wants it more.
Yeah, it's like...
We always joked about dad fights, like me, Tom, and Rosie, and like stuff like that. And we're like, whose dad's tougher? And, like we'd always joke between, because like Rosie's dad, jacked as all shit. It looks like he'll fuck you up. Like he looks like he could have been like the Harm's Way guy's father. Like that's how built he is. Tom's dad, total scrapper.
another good one.
Yeah, he's not a small guy.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Tom's dad, scrapper, but big dude. Been known to get into fights when he was younger. And so we're like, what if they fought? And like, the joke was, we're like, I don't know, man. I think Rosie's dad just wants it more. I think that's what it comes down to. I think he would win just because he wants it more.
I've told my dad at this point in my life, I'm like, if we fought, you're going down hard. Like, it's just like,
I
it's
would
over.
ruin my dad.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the greatest feeling in the world when you finally kick your dad's
Right?
ass.
Yeah, like, I can take over.
But some dudes never are able to do that. And I feel sorry for them. Like, it's just like some dudes' dads just hold up, like, I still know how to kick motherfuckers' asses.
Day they die, yeah.
And usually their sons are raised like powder puffs.
Right.
Because it's like, you know, because like the dad's like a successful construction worker that like made $6 million. And fucking, their son was raised with video games like a powder puff, so it's like he can still kick
Works
ass.
an office job, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's a graphic designer.
Right.
Well, damn, guys.
That's awesome. Yeah, this was a blast.
Yeah,
man.
it was a
This
fun
cool.
one.
This was a great one.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, now I'm like, King A10 was my big powerhouse move where I was like, that's going to be a sick one.
You're
But
like,
now I'm just
checkmate, king.
Yeah, now I don't know what to pick. So I'm going to have to think really hard on this.
I'm sure it'll come to you. Like,
Yeah, I have a couple ideas, but some of them are like, I like picking the newer bands because it's cool. Because I mean,
like
to me,
it.
it's like
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah. Well, for somebody like our age, you know, like, and we grew up with new metal, so we were in it. Whereas you is, you know, it's a little before your time, so it's nice to get your angle of it. Like, well, this is what I'm experiencing as new metal. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, King A10 was they were at the peak, I feel, of bands that were like, we come from a metalcore background, but we love Korn and, you know, all these other bands. Like,
And rap, hip hop, like dark hip hop.
yeah. Exactly. So it was just kind of like this amalgamation of sounds, and I feel like they were like on the top of that when that movement was really big. And yeah, I don't know. I think they kick ass. I think that record kicks ass. I think all these records kicked ass. I honestly enjoyed every single one.
Yeah, this was a good month.
Yeah,
it was fun. Yeah,
by month.
But good 8 weeks.
Yeah, it was good 8 weeks.
Exactly. So I got my death metal pick though for the next one. I'm struggling between two.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
I haven't really thought about it because I've been concentrating on this. So like, but now I'll have to get in that.
The death metal one is, I mean, as far as me being a fan of it, I loved Nate's presence in my spot. He's a great dude to have as a death metal guy because he's a fucking huge fan of it.
Yeah.
So like, even though I knew all those records back to front, honestly.
Yeah.
The last time you guys did it, like I had 2 cents to put in with all of them. So like that was awesome for me to listen to as a fan.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So like that's rad. And then the key with this one is we have so many friends who gravitate towards it because it sucks that new metal is still a 4-letter word for people to get back into. But it's never left my table. Like, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of it. So people be like, dude, I haven't thought about that record in years, and I can't believe you guys fucking, you know, marked out over it for fucking 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this is what life, like, if it never leaves your table, dude, and never leaves your record player, essentially, why, it's not that big of a fucking deal.
Exactly.
But it's rad that we could carry the torch with that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's cool.
I love talking about it more than I expected to love talking about it, to be honest with you. So
Speaking of friends, I shout out to our buddy Lauren.
Sure.
I feel bad. We talked to him about it before, but at some point when we do one of these episodes, we got to do a call in with him.
Yeah.
He was telling me that him and his buddies made like this massive list of top 100
new metal records. Oh, tell him to send him my way for ideas.
We need to. It'd be fun and have him talk about it because like when that first new metal episode dropped, he hit me up immediately. It was like, I fucking loved it, and like I have so much to say about it. Like, you guys gotta like hit me up, and I was like, all right, yeah, we'll get on it. I feel bad we didn't do it for this one, but hopefully, maybe.
Oh, by the way, I have something to say to you that's completely unrelated to this episode. The Warforged guys, we went to Alice's karaoke on Friday night.
Yeah.
Max did The Unnamed Feeling by Metallica because they somehow had that there.
That was
what is that
on
from?
St. Anger.
St. Anger. Yeah, dude. And it is a fucking wild ride of a song, man.
Really?
It's like a 7-minute song that's just like... I love St. Anger. I'm a big fan of the record.
So
personally.
that would actually fall into the new metal category to some degree.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I debated picking that for this
Holy
episode,
shit.
But like I wasn't sure
I've
if it
never
would get a
actually
pass.
listened to that whole album.
Yeah, maybe
that documentary, like, it's just
unbelievable.
One of the best documentaries ever made. And I'm like a fan of like
some kind of
Well, I saw it.
I've seen that.
Max did that song. Like I heard it come on, and like because he didn't tell me what he picked, and I was like, oh god, like this is insane. I wish you were there to see it, dude. But there's like,
that's awesome.
So me and Alex got like insanely high, like at Alice's. Like we were like really fucking gone. And the song kicks in, and when Alex is like high, he gets like very hyper focused. And there's a section of the song towards the end where it's obviously a reflection of James Hetfield's alcoholism. And there's a whole song where he talks about how he wants to hate the world away. And he's like, I want to run away from myself. And it's like this whole weird, like, because the rest of the song, the lyrics are very metaphorical and like kind of clever.
So it's a
but
song
he just
about
goes on
battling
this, you know
alcoholism
what
and
the
you're
part I'm
doing it
talking
at the
about?
I do, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like Alex is like watching the screen the whole time. And as soon as that section's over, he looks at me dead straight. He's like, do you realize James Hetfield is like a 40-year-old man when he wrote these lyrics? And I was laughing so hard. And I was
Probably
just
older
like,
than that,
yeah,
right?
and like
Jeez.
Max is standing up there like awkwardly yelling it. And I'm like, yeah,
Awesome.
this is fucking weird, dude. I like that song though.
I'll have to check that out.
Shout out,
That's so
another
funny.
shout out. Gabe's friend Danny, he's my friend too. Danny Frank is a guy that follows us on Insta, and he hit me up because I was posting some random posts on some kind of monster because I rewatched these like last week or whatever the fuck, and he goes,
I remember.
And
seeing
he's like, dude, like this is crazy. He's like, I need to watch this, and then I rebutted to him like an hour later, like, yeah, you have to. Definitely check it out. It's rad as fuck. And he's like, dude, I'm already an hour in. Like, I love this shit.
Oh, nice.
He immediately like went to check it out.
Yeah.
And then converted another fan with it. I love that documentary so
my
much.
favorite,
It's great.
probably my favorite music documentary of all time. It's Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Dude,
it is really
insane.
Yeah, it is really great. And the realness of all aspects of it, and the Hetfield-Lars relationship, and Hammett's role in it, and Bob Rock's role, and
the Bob Rock stuff was the most interesting thing to me, just to see that guy like in there and see him working with them.
And then he always gets like raked over coals and then has to eat it. And then fucking the management team that are like, hey, how you guys doing in there?
Yeah, when you were posted like, oh yeah, bigwig guys think albums should be called Saint Anger.
They're discussing. There's 8 people. There's a team in the room.
A marketing team, basically.
One of which, including is their therapist. Their therapist
stars.
That's a weak moment. A very weak moment.
Crazy to see that. Yeah.
And they're discussing what the record should be called, if it's Saint Anger or any of the other fucking choices. And the guy,
dude.
So good, dude.
Yeah.
Just amazing. I just love it so much. It's
How would you, have you ever thought about, I think about it a lot.
Quitting every day.
If there was a Metallica record during the period of like I Disappear, No Leaf Clover, and Mine Is Human, if they did a record with that sound, so like in between the Load and Reload era and the Saint Anger era, do you think if they did a record like that, it would make Saint Anger more digestible and easier to listen to?
You know, I actually thought about that because I think you and I talked about this recently, but here's my comparison. I'm like a big Jurassic Park fan.
Sure.
All right. And they're right now filming or pre-production for the third one. The third one of the Jurassic World.
Yeah.
All right. They 6 months ago released a short.
Okay.
And it's supposed to serve as a bridge between this era, which was Jurassic, all hell breaking at Jurassic World and the dinosaurs escaping, and what we're going to see in the third one.
Okay.
Which is like a planet where dinosaurs are basically like a dinosaur could be outside right now or whatever.
Yeah, they escaped.
They escaped. And a bridge has been created with that short.
Really? Is that out to the public?
Yes, it is.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's like a 10-minute movie. And it shows a family on a picnic or camping or whatever.
Oh,
and
I've seen it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's what how I
those songs
put those songs for that. Yeah, between Load and what.
That's a good point. That makes sense. Like if
I love those songs
because there's a considerable gap, right? Between
because it took so long because all the fucked up shit happened with James and everything. I mean the whole documentary.
And wasn't like those songs were supposed to be the part of an album that was in the works, right?
I don't know.
Isn't that what it was?
I don't know.
The I thought the Mission Impossible one was. Like, wasn't that something?
I have no idea.
And then they just had it done, so they polished it off and then threw it on there, or some shit like that.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know about that. I just know I love all three of those songs: No Leaf Clover, Mine Is Human, and I Disappear. I think they're all 6 songs.
I think the Mine Is Human songs are pretty good. No Leaf Clover and I Disappear, honestly, are classics.
Yeah, they're great.
Like No Leaf Clover. Yeah. I'm not familiar with that other one. Though.
Mine Is Human is on S&M, the Symphony and Metallica album.
Okay.
And No Leaf Clover is as well.
Is on that too.
Yeah.
And then I Disappear is just a beast.
Yeah. That's a good.
I think if they did a record like that, I mean, if they did a record like that, though, I don't know if they would have ever done a Saint Anger. I mean, that could have completely controlled the shift there because I mean,
I think, like you said, I think it would have eased people into that album a lot more.
If they got, but I mean, Saint Anger, I don't think would have been as depending on the career path, I don't think Saint Anger would have been as fucked up. If it might not, I don't know. It's too hard to say because there's so much history that happens in that band at that point.
We were in the process of writing what would be the third Something Is Waiting record.
Yeah.
And like
We're
literally
currently picking out our marketing team right now.
No, literally as soon as we started,
Yeah.
like, you know, Gabe and I have like a relationship that spans decades at this point.
Sure.
And he's very
They're now married through common law.
Yeah, it's like it's very Lars James.
Hell yeah.
And
I love that shit.
and then Bill's adding a new element to it, and I guarantee we're gonna end up recording with Grossman.
Is he the Kirk?
No, I'm just saying we all like.
I would just say I'm the Kirk because I'm like, guys, let's just
Yeah, but you're
jam
not
it
an
out.
art guy either. That like,
and honestly,
his guitar.
him and I really aren't Lars, and we're like our own versions of that, whatever that is. But when it comes down to it, I immediately thought like we should fucking just film this whole motherfucker, and then there'd be like Grossman's element of recording with him, or who knows what elements come into fucking play.
Pete Grossman.
And then when it comes down to it, what's so fucking funny is this, which is immediately when I had that idea, I'm like, that's fucking so genius. And then the other side of it is now people are going to think it's fucking fake, like a work.
Yeah.
Because it's like they did it before it was like everything's a reality show based thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like everything that, even if it's real, we still think it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, it'd be like, what's the fucking point? They'd be like, that's a fake fight you guys have. I'm like, no, it's very fucking real.
It's real.
You know, like that. So, but it's all out the window.
Yeah.
But that's why that documentary is so important.
Yeah.
Which was like, it got in right before that reality show bubble.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
or
that's
like,
very
you know,
true.
Yeah, right before it for sure.
Because if not, they'd be like, Hetfield's making this up. You know, but no, that's 100%
No, that was all
real.
real shit. All real fucked up shit. Oh, I want to watch it.
If you want to see another good, I mentioned to you a good documentary and new metal-esque is the Rammstein one on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
No.
It's great. It's really great.
I also like the Stained one for the last album they did.
that one is
pretty
brutal
bad.
to watch. Because
Have you ever seen that?
How do I get it?
It's on YouTube
Yeah,
for
the
free.
whole thing is
I'll
on
send
YouTube.
you a link.
It's great.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man.
Like Aaron
It's
Lewis
depressing.
and doing
Aaron Lewis with that dude.
Johnny K.
Yeah.
Treating him like dog shit.
And, like,
it's insane.
really.
Yeah.
Johnny K's pretty reputable though.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's at that time massive fucking name, and here's Aaron Lewis giving him shit. Like it's crazy.
It's intense, man. Because they all can't work together because they all hate each other. It's like bad. Yeah.
And then also there's that age-old art of treating your engineer like shit. Because you're getting paid by us, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Paying your fucking bills.
But and then Stain was also like massive, so the ego could barely fit through the door. So of course,
Yeah.
you know,
And they're
Aaron
doing
Lewis
a big
is gonna-
summer tour with Disturbed this year.
I know,
this
yeah,
summer.
and Bad Wolves.
and they're going to be on separate buses probably as well.
And then also, if I'm not mistaken, it's the anniversary of they're doing it's their anniversary of their self-titled, or not self-titled, the Dysfunction record. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's
like,
this
fuck yeah.
sick scene in that DVD where Matt Mushok is like writing
Mike.
this. Mike Mushok is writing this riff with like a bend in it, but he does this like dance when he's playing it, and it just looks so funny. It's just like dan dan dan. And like Alex sent it to me the other day just with like a timestamp. I opened it at work and I was just like, this is really funny. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He just looks so like he's grasping onto this idea. He's like, this is kind of cool. Like, it is a sick riff, kind of.
Don't you
but
guys work in the same place?
We sit right next to each other.
So, no, that's a lost art. When I haven't had a job. I'm self-employed, but I haven't had a job in like 15 years or 10 plus or whatever. When you used to be on a computer like feet away from people and they would DM you something,
dude,
there's something so funny about
it's
that.
so much fun. We do it all the time.
Or like when someone texts you, like say I sent you a text right now,
Yeah.
like it's just something funny about that.
Hell
Like,
yeah,
it's like-
dude. We're just like, the other day we were watching videos of Josh Travis, the guy that's in a mirror now, and
Yeah.
he was in Tony Danza, and like he does all these insane like stage moves, and we have guitars like in our room, so I'm like, Alex, dude, pick up that guitar and try it, and he'll like do it in
Josh
front of everybody, and
Gotta have the
like,
guitar up to here.
yeah, and
The
do all like
necklace guitar.
weird spins and shit. Yeah, it's sick.
When I learn my friends' little like triggers or something, I won't go on my way to exploit them, but you never know. Like case in point, last night I hung out with Nate. We were at that show.
Good to have those in the pocket.
I said I need to piss in this alley. And he got like so weirded out by that. He's like, "What if someone comes and sees
Yeah.
you?" And I'm just like, "I don't care."
Yeah, who
and I
gives a
told
fuck?
I told him my line, and anyone out there could use this. If someone ever yells at you for doing something on a property, pissing, whatever, hey, whatever the fuck, just say 100% of the time it's okay. I'm the owner.
Yeah.
And then what are they gonna do?
Good
Go
move.
get real estate
Yeah,
papers?
find out. Yeah, find out who the owner is.
I use that
What if
line.
it's the owner?
No, that's the only one who could get you.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, it's usually not.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the owner. And what are they going to do? Go inside and be like, hey, this guy says he's the owner. By the time they do all that, you're already gone. Yeah, dude.
And my piss is over.
Yeah.
So I did that. I had to do that 2 times last year. I was pissing on something and goes, hey, motherfucker. Or like, not motherfucker, but hey. And I go,
it's both times?
I piss in alleys like
a bit. Or, dude, I piss on the street, man.
I piss on vacant properties a lot.
Yeah.
Like lots. Like I'm just going, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, and I piss in the street. I piss in the middle. I piss in the middle of my street. Now I can't do it because I have a garage spot, but I used to come home and I just like driving from the city after practice, drink a bunch of waters or some shit, do a thing where I'm just like peeing in the street because I can't get to my apartment or my condo. It's like, that's fucking crazy. When I need to go, I need to fucking go. And the key was this, which is I did a thing where we were at Beat Kitchen. And shout out to the show at Beat Kitchen last night, which was Cloud Cruiser, who was the record release, High Priest, who fucking crushed, and fucking Blunt, who crushed, and this up and coming band Blake, who's fucking awesome. And it was a great, well attended show. There's a bathroom at Beat Kitchen that holds like 2 motherfuckers. People,
yeah, it sucks.
And it's just like
in the basement.
So I went to go to the restroom and I got caught up talking with friends. And then this was like right at the end of when the headliner Cloud Cruiser was finishing. And then the show let out, and I saw everyone just funnel down to that bathroom. And I'm like, there's no way I'm getting a piss in.
Not tonight.
Yeah, it's over. So I'm going to go piss in an alley. And then I was driving Nate home and he got uncomfortable with me.
Because you pissed in an alley?
Yeah, it was like, or he's like, what?
When did you get caught?
I don't know, Nate. Fucking don't
He was a lookout for me, though. It was funny.
Fun fact, you do have to be careful with that, because if you do get caught, you can technically be registered as a sex offender.
Depending on where you're at. If you're near a public park or a school, you do.
Yeah, right. Either way.
The last time I pissed like in the street was like on Belmont at Alice's. Yeah, I was super tanked, and like me and my coworker were there, and we were just like looking for spots to pee. There's a bunch of cars. Yeah, I was like, oh, fuck it. And I was like, nobody caught me, but it was like right in the open. It was like, oh, this is not like, I don't know. Yeah.
I stopped pissing in things. Because a long time ago, I said, I was like, dude, if I get through this, I will never piss in a thing in my life for the rest of my fucking life. It was like raging with friends. This isn't that long ago, actually. I want to say it was like 6-7 years ago. We're raging. Okay. All right. Guys, girls are there, and we're all sleeping over. All right. And I'm surrounded by beer cans. All right. And I'm like, I have to either go upstairs or I could piss in this beer can. I'm sleeping on I like rise up, I piss in the beer can, I put it back like full on the table. I try to go back to sleep. A few minutes later, 4 people walk in, 3 dudes and a girl, and they're all looking to have cigarettes because that was like the designated cigarette smoking area. Girl has the exact same beer.
Oh no!
That fucking is my
piss beer.
My piss beer. And
she didn't pick up on
puts it down to light up a cigarette, puts it down, and then reaches for one, and then takes a sip and does like a sour face. And then I'm like, my heart stops.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm way too into this. I don't know why she made the sour face, but thankfully it was not my piss.
Oh God!
Because then I immediately was like, I hope that's it. I hope that's it. And I went and I smelled them like she picked the wrong one by like an inch, and she made
Damn it!
So I said, I'll never piss in anything again for the rest of my fucking life. So I piss on things. I'll piss on anything.
Yeah.
At the very least, throw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen horror stories of people with the dip.
Oh yeah.
I've seen that.
So like fucking this girl that I knew growing up. Dad was like a total fucking hardcore Polak. Did a thing where like his son was like dipping in the basement, partying or whatever with a big dip in, and then fucking he comes down and he's like, "You're drinking vodka down here," the Polish dad or whatever, and he's like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Give me that." He took it and he goes, "No, Dad, don't sip it." He goes, "Yeah, because there's fucking alcohol." And he fucking sipped it. It was a huge fucking dip. Fucking.
Oh no.
We did a thing too where like
that again.
Yeah, like my high school band, we did a thing when we used to like dip and stuff. We would this is unbelievably disgusting. We used the same water bottle and we like pass it around. So we had like a dip water bottle this big. And my mom fucking found it at my house and just threw it out.
Yeah.
It was like it was disgusting. Yeah. So we were insane.
Well, good for her for throwing it out. Ugh.
But another good Polak dad story, and this will wrap up our episode actually, is
do the plugs.
The dude who's the bassist in Disturbed, the original bassist. I think his name was Fuzz, actually.
Yeah.
His dad was like, they're all from around here. His dad was like a total fucking Polak. and some guy goes, "Hey," and I'm okay to use the word Polak because I'm Polish. All right.
Yeah, me too. For the record,
Me too.
I used the word Polak at like a Polish banquet hall recently, and that didn't go over well. I was like, "Fuck y'all!" Like, it is what it is. But long story short is, this dude's dad is such a Polak that he once found a beehive in the backyard and fucking.
Fuzz's dad?
Yeah, Fuzz's dad.
Mr. Fuzz.
Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Fuzz Senior.
His dad took a vacuum and then fucking vacuumed up a beehive with one of those extensions or whatever.
Yeah, that's smart.
And then, very smart. This is the kicker. He had the common sense afterwards to want to make sure that the beehive was sucked up. So he put his face like right in it. And then they just go boom, boom, boom.
Oh my God.
Swarm his ass and kill his ass in his backyard.
Jesus, dude.
He died?
No, he didn't die.
Oh
no.
my
I'm just saying, like,
God.
no, if he died, it'd be amazing.
That's like the setup for like a Polak joke. Like
Yeah,
that'd be, if he
dude.
died.
No,
holy shit!
I love anyone who's Polish, but I will say this, which is
Why do you know that story?
Because my friend knew Disturbed,
Oh, okay.
and like he's like 10 years older than me,
Okay.
and he's like, I used to know I grew up with the original bassist. His
Holy
dad's a total
shit.
fucking Polak. I go,
That's
I've heard that one
awesome.
before, and I've
Yeah,
heard some
we've all
crazy
heard that,
fucking
yeah.
Polak stories. And he goes, no man, and fucking told me this one. I go, that's pretty. That's at the top,
pretty
man.
good. Holy shit! Amazing.
That is good. Fuck. Yeah.
That's a good Polak story.
smart move with the extension.
Yeah.
But awesome. Plugs. I've been plugging a show or shows that we have, but I've been fucking up the dates. and I
Okay,
figured you would
so
know.
as far as Something is Waiting shows goes, we are playing March 12th at Reggie's Music Joint, the small one, with Bongzilla and Plague of Carcosa. If you're not looking to go to the South Side, we play about a month later with Today's the Day and Child Bite and Masonic Wave at Livewire. And those are our only Chicago shows for the spring. So go to one of those two, and they're both the exact same size rooms, basically, and also whatever on the heavier noise rock, disgusting tip. They're going to be rad.
Sick.
Thank you.
You guys got a Roman Ring show coming up.
I have a Warforged show. Well, by the time this airs, it'll be over because this is going to be. We're playing
with the Repulsire show.
Yeah, we're
Nice.
playing that on the 16th, which is this coming Saturday for us in the real world, but
Hopefully
on the
you guys
podcast
were
world.
there.
Hopefully you were there.
I was going to say, I'm excited to go watch the Academy Awards tonight.
Oh yeah, that is tonight. Fuck, I have shit going on, but I wonder. Yeah,
I do have shit going on, but I could probably
catch
some time with
Yeah.
it. I'm just bummed that I loved Uncut Gems. If you didn't
Yeah,
seen that,
amazing movie. I just saw it.
And
I saw it a couple weeks ago.
It didn't get
with Alex.
nominated for shit.
It should have.
Really?
Yeah, nothing.
Phenomenal movie.
Actually, Adam Sandler should be winning Best Actor tonight.
Yes, he
That's
should
how
be.
fucking great he was.
Yeah, killer. Amazing, like the best movie I've ever seen him do.
Really? He
Yeah.
fucking killed. And I mean, I'm a huge Airheads Billy Madison dude, all that shit.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
he level like this role is like he nails it.
Yeah.
And he's not. He has a comedic aspect to his role, but it's a serious role.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean,
good, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Yeah, I
fucking
love
good.
the movie. Alex took me to see it because he saw it once and he said it was so good. He's like, we have to go. So we went. and it
He's
was
better
like,
than
have to check it out.
better than the Joker, which is Joaquin this year, and he's better than DiCaprio. He was the best actor.
Yeah. I agree.
What
Once Upon a Time in
Once Upon a Time
Hollywood.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's better than both of them. I saw both of them. I loved both roles. He's the
Yeah,
best.
He is the best. I
Sandler
would agree.
kills it. Shout out to Sandler, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'll
and
have to check it
he'll never get to this level again with serious acting, which is so fucking sad that they didn't at least give him a fucking nod. And the Academy sucks for that. So they could all go to hell.
They can. So yeah, there's Roman Reigns playing March 4th, and when is this airing? Then this will be on the 17th
Yeah.
or the 18th.
18th.
Well, for those who listen, that Friday there may or may not
17th.
be a new Roman Reigns song coming your way on Friday.
I've heard rumblings of this. I don't know what's going on with that, but I've heard
Yeah.
rumblings for a couple people that aren't you guys. And I was warning about that, but I didn't want to fucking pop any corks.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked
There
on
may or
hearing
may
that.
not be, man.
The
So,
Roman Ring train is finally leaving the station.
Yeah.
I think we got a little fire under us because we got this show, which
Hell yeah.
we haven't done a show since last April.
Yeah, almost a year.
And that show was at Reggie's.
Yeah.
And I forget the lineup, but I was there.
It was Psychroptic. It was
Yeah, yeah,
supposed
it was
to be
awesome.
Gorod, but they didn't get into the country. And
Psychroptic's the shit. And
Cannabis
like, that
Corp.
was a really good show.
Yeah. And we're doing so we're playing with Gorod and Veil of Nath again, or Gorod. Now they're actually going to be here.
We said that we weren't going to play another show until
Gorod came back.
Wait, what's going on? So Roman's playing with Gorod. This is that show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gorod was supposed to be on the Psychroptic show, but they didn't get their visas in time.
That's right.
So now they have them. So they're going to be at their direct support to Veil of Nath.
Okay.
And then there is Wolf King, who's also a really sick band.
They're very sick.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're from like the West Coast or something.
They're from Reno or California.
I want to say they're a prosthetic band.
They are a prosthetic band. Yeah. They're really sick. And another local Triguna, they're called. I've never heard them, but they're playing. So we're after Triguna before the touring package.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be in the big room, so come out and enjoy, eat some wings, hang out, be a good time. And March, that is on March 4th, I believe. And there may or may not be a record dropping that following Friday, so.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like I said, the train's rolling right now.
Yeah.
We're finally getting back to work.
Yeah, so there's that going down.
The one thing I love about Roman is I've seen so many Roman ring shows, and it's a tailor-made venue for you guys, which is Reggie's Big Stage. Mm-hmm. And we're becoming like the band that owns fucking the small stage of Reggie's.
Hell yeah.
And I fucking love it.
We frequent it quite often.
And it's just like, and it seems like anytime there's a show that goes down there, we play very well, and we always get like asked to do those, and those joint shows rule.
Yeah, they do rule.
And like honestly, I fucking loved Roman Ring the time I saw you guys with
Disentomb.
Dude, that
joint?
show ruled.
Dude.
Did Orinoco play?
No, that was Cataplexy. Cataplexy, Roman Ring, and Disentomb.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, that was awesome. That was an awesome fucking gig.
It was an awesome show. I love Disentomb, dude.
Oh, that band's insane.
They're like becoming like one of my top 5 death metal bands of all time.
That death metal,
so
that
sick.
guitarist is unreal.
Yeah, he is unreal. The record I've fucking been obsessed with the record they put out last year. I never listened to it because we were on tour. The production is there, but it's kind of like, it's hard to hear when you're in a van driving 80 miles an hour on a
You can't hear anything.
Speakers, yeah.
But dude, once I got those headphones Brody told me to get, I've been like obsessed with this record, and it is so fucking sick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
From Australia.
I'm wearing a Disentomb shirt now, so.
That's what that says.
You're getting paid by a motherfucker
some
somewhere.
mean shit to Jesus.
Jesus on the T, dude.
Yeah, dude, upside down, but
Dude, we have to have a King A10 knockoff shirt, which is Jesus on the Jesus sipping tea. Sipping tea.
yeah, that'd be good.
Like the Kermit fucking meme.
Jesus on
that
the
would
T.
be sick, dude.
I know.
Fuck.
I know that would be good.
You're good, dude.
We're half a fucking closing line.
No, we are.
Man.
No, like honestly, it's a shout out to anyone who just bought our last shirt, but it's getting to the point where we are a clothing line.
It's awesome.
And then
it's
we
great.
happen to be a band that has music around the clothing line. That's it.
I'm trying to get us to that point, but it's been a long battle.
One day it'll be as cool as
we have some new shirts coming out. I think. Oh, this is another hint. We might have one if. We might have one maybe dropping around Valentine's Day, which I think is right around the fucking corner.
Hell yeah. Yeah, next Friday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, sweet.
Thank you as always.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you
on,
guys.
man.
I love it.
This was fun.
Thank you.
I get to go to Gene and
listening.
Jude's now.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Gene and Jude's is so sick. Damn, man.
I cannot wait for the all the text messages and comments to come in when this drops, because they always seem to do well.
I
people come
love
out of the
doing
woodwork and they're like,
this is another hot
"Oh,
one,
I can't believe you talked about this and that. You should talk about this." So,
Yeah.
but hit us up. Let us know what
you think. Listen
what
to
other albums you want us to check
Fear
out
Factory,
and talk
Obsolete, 40 Below Summer, Invitation to the Dance, King 810, La Petite Mort, or A Conversation with God. Listen to them.
Yeah, if you haven't already, definitely check them out.
Check out all those records. They're great.
Yeah.
They're
They're
all
all sick.
really fun, great albums to listen to, and at any age, I think, any generation, I think you'll find something enjoyable about all three of them.
Fear Factory, 25th anniversary, Obsolete. We need that original lineup back there.
I'll be there if that happens.
Yeah.
Or if they just play in
Can't believe
general,
it's
I'll
been
be there.
25 years.
Yeah, we need it.
My back hurts hearing that.
We need it so much, man.
Cool. Thank
Sweet.
you so much, everybody.
Yeah, thanks,
and,
guys.
We'll see you guys next. Who's our guest next week?
Your homies.
Okay, I gotta confirm that, but hopefully.
Please do
Bill's
confirm.
homies,
it.
apparently.
I'm sure they are.
Wait, is Bill starting like a King A10 gang?
Yeah.
His homies.
Our friend Arton of the show recently got engaged. Congratulations!
I saw
He's
that.
going to be our guest next week with Jack and his wife Jessie. They're going to come on.
Okay.
Jesse's going
Are
to
they
finally.
sure?
a couple
What does
episodes.
it do
This
with
is
this?
awesome.
What's up?
They just like each other?
Who?
Like, what's the driving force behind this episode?
Just to have them all on together.
Okay.
We were talking about.
I don't really know any.
This
of
sounds
them,
like it would be like a newlywed
I
game,
don't
and
know
it'd be
any
awesome.
of those dudes. I know Jack and Arton very, very little.
Yeah, you know them well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if there was like a bigger purpose for having them on.
I was talking to him about it, and like we were joking that we should do a month of Arton because there's so many guests that like friends of mine that want to be on the show, and all of them were like, I want to be on with Arton. I want to be with Arton. Like, I love that. And I get it. I love that dude. He's a sweetheart. Also because I don't know if I should be saying this, but he might be potentially moving.
Oh, okay.
So that's another reason why
Arton's moving?
Yeah.
Oh my
kind
God.
of a big deal.
Do you know Arton?
No.
Okay.
You should. He's a great dude. I love him to death. So yeah, he'll be here next week with Jack and Jesse.
Sick.
And hopefully Jesse will be cool and not talk too much shit about Jack while he's here, but we'll see.
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
Because she catches a lot of flack from Jack on the show. This is her chance
so
to do
she'll
a little
be
bit of a
revenge.
rebuttal. Yeah. So it'll be good.
Cool.
Hopefully we keep the tequila away from her and she won't get too unruly. So it'll be fun.
Sweet. Well, all right.
Awesome.
You guys
We'll
cool.
see you guys all next week.
Yeah, take
Thank
it
you.
easy.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm all for
All right,
it.
so I should do the promo right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you like what you hear or don't like what you hear, we need you to like and subscribe to this page. We need you to share it with your friends and talk about it. And thanks again. You guys rule.
Perfect.
Sweet.